Chapter 493. Rolling Eyes. Xiao Yunduan had become very confident after learning from Master Yun for so many days. He was a smart person to begin with and he could pick up things fast. During this period, Xiao Yunduan went to help with the digging of tea tree seedlings as well. Eventually, Xiao Xian, Xiao Yunduan, Xiao Sanlang and his wife, Xiao Dalang and Qi as well as Tao Tao were all there. Ms. Su would have joined them as well if she was not pregnant. She really wished to make money but she was pregnant so she dropped the idea. Eldest uncle did not know what Xiao Xian was up to. But seeing that they were out going out, he said, "If you need any help, get Erlang and Silang to help you. Meiling could be helpful too, if Tao Tao is with you." Xiao Sanlang could not help but roll his eyes. Xiao Xian smiled. "We are not short of laborers, thanks. Eldest uncle." He suspected that Xiao Xian was doing that on purpose but he had no evidence for that. The places where golden sprouts and lavenders grew had many tea tree seedlings. So, they dug them out, tied them up and transported them on the donkey carts to the Zhang village and passed them on to the tenants. The days were not yet warm, and Xiao Xian decided to wait a little longer for the seedlings to be planted. They did not have many tea tree seedlings. Hence, they spent 4 days digging everything that could be dug away. They had 5 mu of golden sprouts and 3 mu of lavender at the Zhang village. These tea seedlings could be picked this autumn, and Xiao Xian thought that the effort was worth it. It was a test for the tea processors to train themselves, so the whole process could be smooth henceforth. It will soon rise to a certain scale next year. With her superpower as the assistant, they would definitely have a lot of tea leaves next year. They had just finished digging when Xiao Dalang was summoned to the meeting. They were going to fix the main canal, and that's why Land Officer Ding gathered everyone for the meeting. As a result, Xiao Dalang did not join them to dig the creeping figs. There were 3 main canals in the village. All the water for irrigation of paddy fields was brought through these 3 main canals. The largest and longest main canal had not been repaired for many years, and it was high time. When the land officer mentioned it, no one objected. Therefore, all the households involved in the irrigation of the main canal would provide labor and take turns to repair it. The first section of the Xiao family also had a field to draw water from the canal, so Xiao Dalang had to repair it too. It would take 3 days. Xiao Xian and the others continued to go into the mountains to cut the creeping figs, whilst Xiao Dalang went to fix the canal. This work was much easier and faster than digging seedlings. They cut a certain amount, sent it to the Zhang village in 1 day and had it cut into pieces of more than 20 centimeters. The amount of cuttings in a day was enough to cover 10 mu. At this rate, they would only need 5 days to finish the work. Xiao Xian asked Xiao Yunduan to stop during the last 3 days. "There is only a little work left, and we have enough help. You should stay at home and study." Xiao Yunduan could help when they were very busy, but not all the time. He was about to have lessons with Master Yun, thus he agreed. "Then you should take it slow. We have enough time to complete this." Xiao Xian smiled and agreed. But not long after they returned home, someone rushed to them and said, Dalang passed out because a stone hit his legs. Chapter 494. Care. Everyone's face changed. Miss Su almost passed out, but was supported by Yang Xiaoni at the last minute. Xiao Xian asked in a calm manner, "Just the legs, right? Nothing else?" "It is fine, we can hire a doctor if he suffers from pain." "Don't worry, elder sister-in-law." "Yes, yes." Miss Fong nodded as she saw the messenger. "My son is okay otherwise, isn't he?" That man felt a little scared seeing Ms. Su getting frightened. After all, it was a pregnant woman. If something happened to the baby, the first section of the family would kill him for bringing that message. He said, "No, nothing else. Just the stone that hit his legs." Xiao Xian thanked him swiftly and said, "Mom, let third brother and Qi get him home now. I will go with Tao Tao into the town to fetch a doctor. Just console elder sister-in-law and tell her he will be fine." Xiao Yunduan had taken the donkey cart when he went to Master Yun's place. Xiao Sanlang was always the one driving, but he was helping Xiao Xian with the creeping fig this time around, and hence did not follow him into the town. Miss Fong calmed herself down. Okay, you should head off now. Third and Qi, hurry up. Miss Su, don't worry, he just hurt his legs, nothing else." We are villagers who would inevitably get wounded sometimes. Xiao Xian and Tao Tao left in a hurry. Ms. Su let out a sigh of relief, forcing a smile. You're right, Mum. I'm fine. Soon Ms. Yen hurried in. Elder Aunt, anything I can do to help? Don't worry, he is a lucky guy, and he should be fine. Also, stones used for the canals would not be too big and he would not be so badly injured. Although that might not be the truth, yet Ms. Fang and Ms. Su felt assured hearing some reassuring words. They nodded and threw a grateful look at Ms. Yen. Ms. Fang asked Ms. Yen to keep Ms. Su company along with taking care of Xiao Junyan and Xiao Dalong, whilst she went into the kitchen to boil water. She was waiting for Xiao Dalong to return and tried hard to press down the anxiety. Soon, Ms. Niu and Ms. Ma as well as Ms. Zhang came over. Everyone expressed their concerns. Dalong's leg should be fine, right? He should have been more careful. Is he badly injured? He may not be able to do the spring plow if he is injured. He passed out in pain. Not sure if that is true. Don't worry. He is alive, right? He just needs some treatment. And even if he is handicapped, you can still survive without him, right? Ms. Fang got so annoyed that she wanted to drive them out. Just stop showing your concern and go make your food. I am too busy to receive you here. Did they have any idea what they were talking about? They might as well shut. She was not in a mood to argue with them, but she got very angry hearing what they said. Ms. Yen was speechless. She knew that her brainless mother-in-law would say something stupid. So, she had asked her mother-in-law not to come along with her, and she could just pass on the message. But she still came. Sure enough, she talked nonsense. Ms. Niu and Ms. Ma did not dare to irritate Ms. Fang anymore at the moment. Chapter 495. Result: if Ms. Fang got annoyed and drove them away, they would suffer. Seeing Ms. Yen keep Ms. Su company, Ms. Zhang felt very uncomfortable, but she still smiled. Let me stay with my cousin as well. Ms. Fang threw a glance at her and said, Ms. Yen is enough. You can leave. Ms. Zhang felt so annoyed inside her heart. She was looking down at her. She forced a smile. Eldest aunt, let me stay and free up fourth sister-in-law's hands. She is still too young to understand anything. I can keep my cousin company. Ms. Yen knows her well. Ms. Fang turned impatient. I have no time to argue with you. Just leave. Ms. Yen added in a calm tone. Second sister-in-law, just go home to make food for Mom. I can take care of my cousin. Don't worry. Ms. Yen was trying to help Ms. Zhang get rid of the embarrassment. But Ms. Zhang did not appreciate it. She felt that Ms. Yen was mocking and sneering at her, and showing off in front of her. She threw a glare at Ms. Yen and left quietly. She was filled with anger inside her heart. She felt jealous and annoyed. She was mistreated so badly. In her opinion, it was because Ms. Yen was richer than her. Ms. Yen was treated well by both her mother-in-law and the first section of the family. They just knew how to take advantage of others. All these people should suffer one day. They were the bad ones. Xiao Xian and Tao Tao managed to rent a bull cart to travel into the town. They kept urging the uncle to drive faster. The driver also understood that they were in need of a doctor at the moment. But the bull cart could not go too fast. As they reached the town, Xiao Xian spoke with manager Qin from Mingren Tang, who packed up his stuff and went out with the page boys, even though it was closing time. Tao Tao and Xiao Xian as well as the doctor and page boy went in the wagon, whilst the uncle drove the bull cart alone and slowly. When they arrived home, it was bustling in the room. Everyone was present, talking about things. Xiao Yunduan and Qi were waiting for them at the gate and finally saw them return. Fifth brother. How is elder brother? Tao Tao almost shed tears. Xiao Yunduan said gently, elder brother has woken up. He is all right. Dr. Qin, please, this way. They heard the arrival of the doctor and spared the way for him. Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian exchanged a glance and reminded Ms. Fang, seeing so many people around. Ms. Fang brought herself back and thanked everyone present, driving them away. Xiao Yunduan asked the crowd to go out, and Xiao Sanling helped to drive them away as well. They left seeing that the doctor was here and it was getting late in the day. It also seemed that the Xiao family did not need much help. They did not want to be in the way at this time. Second uncle and third uncle were still waiting for the diagnosis. Dr. Qin checked Xiao Dalong's wounds and his heart skipped a beat. He was experienced and did not reveal his inner thoughts easily. Third uncle could not wait and asked, "How is it, Dr. Qin? Can my nephew keep his leg? Many people say that it is a severe injury." Ms. Fong shouted furiously, "Just shut up." Chapter 496. Nice words. Third uncle said unhappily, "Eldest sister-in-law, you can't vent anger on us. I am simply telling the truth. We can't ignore the facts. Just get out of here." Ms. Fong turned furious, pushing third uncle out of the room despite other guests being present there. Third uncle snapped, "What are you doing? I am concerned about my nephew. I can't change the truth no matter what I say. You are just so confused. Get out of here. Eldest brother, look at this. Please leave." Xiao Yunduan said coldly, "Don't disturb Dr. Qin while treating my elder brother. Otherwise, we will not spare you." "Thus, you are simply talking nonsense. Why should we be nice to you? We don't need your care." Xiao Sanlang and the brothers went up and glared at third uncle. Eldest uncle stopped Xiao Sanlang and Xiao Yunduan, sighing, "Please, leave now. We can take care of Dalong here and we will keep you updated. Your eldest sister-in-law is just very anxious. Please don't hold a grudge against her." Miss Fong sneered and spat at them. Xiao Sanlang and his brothers pushed them out. Third uncle and second uncle got annoyed, cursing that the family was heartless in the face of their concern. They finally left in anger. Seeing the scene, Ms. Yen got up and waved them goodbye automatically. Ms. Fong nodded and said gently, "Thanks for your help today." "You are welcome. My pleasure." When the outsiders were gone, everyone turned nervous as they turned to Manager Qin. Xiao Xian had already told Manager Qin about Ms. Zu's pregnancy. She said that if the situation was bad, he should share the truth privately. Manager Qin examined Xiao Dalong's calf, which was in a terrible situation. It might have been broken to a serious degree, and he might be limping from this day on. His right leg would not be strong enough to stand any heavy work. Also, during the change of seasons, it might hurt every time. Manager Qin sighed emotionally. But he felt that the Xiao family had a good status and Xiao Yunduan was a cultivated talent whilst Xiao Xian could make a lot of money. So, one limping labor might not cause any problems for the family's livelihood. But he was going to be handicapped henceforth. That was a hurtful thing for all. He should be fine soon. Just take a good rest and wait for the injury to recover. Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian exchanged a look. Their hearts sank. Manager Qin was making a vague statement. They understood what he meant. Miss Fong and the others did not notice the slight difference. They looked cheerful and smiled in relief. "For real? That is great. I know he will be fine. Elder brother, don't worry. Just take a good rest. I am sure you will get better soon." "Yeah, elder sister-in-law, don't worry." Xiao Dong let out a sigh of relief and turned to Ms. Su, who had a pale face, smiling and nodding. "Thank you all for looking after me. Elder brother, you are being too polite." "That is true." Ms. Su smiled too. Her eyes were wet, and she felt grateful and moved. They were lucky to have escaped. Manager Qin put an ointment and rebandaged Xiao Dalong's wound. He wrote some prescriptions and medical herbs for Xiao Dalong to eat and put on his legs. He had many medicines with him for leg treatment. Chapter 497. Not good. In a few days, they needed to go into the town to fetch another portion of medicine. Otherwise, Manager Qin could come to check on him after 5 days. They could just use the medicine they had right now till then. Ms. Fong insisted that Manager Qin should come and check him again. The Xiao family would gladly pay for the medical bills and fare. Manager Qin nodded. He needed to go back to the town and waved goodbye to the first section of the family. The gate of the town was closed at this hour. But he was the doctor, so he had the special right to be allowed inside. All he needed to do was to show the patrol soldiers his identity card and to write down on the register what he had done and where he had been to. The first section of the family thanked him gratefully. Ms. Chiao told Ms. Fong that she had already paid him. "Just rest well, Mom." Ms. Fong nodded and sighed. Good child. You have had a long day too. I will give the money to you later. Xiao Xian nodded and walked out with Xiao Yunduan, Manager Qin and his page boys. Manager Qin. Manager Qin sighed slightly, knowing that these two had already understood what he meant. He said in a small voice, I am sorry, but Dalong is in a bad condition. His legs might not be well again. Xiao Yunduan's heart sank. Manager Qin, please. Tell me what we can do to make elder brother recover. We are willing to try everything. Don't worry. Manager Qin smiled bitterly. I am a doctor. I'm not going to hide anything from you since you trust me. The bones of his calf and leg are seriously damaged, and the tendons are injured. Even the orthopedic master who is best at bone setting can't guarantee that he can recover fully. I'm afraid. Well, he should be able to walk, except that it will not be as convenient as before, and he won't be able to do any heavy work. Xiao Yunduan's face sank. No other solution? Manager Qin shook his head slightly. Almost impossible. Xiao Xian said, almost impossible, but there is a small possibility of recovering, right? Manager Qin did not know what to say. It can be taken as that. But full recovery was almost impossible. Xiao Xian smiled. That is good. Elder brother has always been healthy and maybe he can recover fast. He should eat well and rest well, so he can get better, right? Manager Qin. You make sense. Xiao Yunduan greeted him. Thanks, Manager Qin. Take care on the way. I am off now. Manager Qin greeted back and left with his page boys. Darling, elder brother will recover. Xiao Yunduan felt his heart warm. He nodded slightly. Yes. He will. I am thinking about visiting the province and asking Brother Yuezheng and Brother Xie for help, to see if any expert doctors can come and take a look at him. Xiao Xian was startled. She had thought about showing her abilities. After all, she managed to heal the old master of the Yuezheng family. But Xiao Yunduan's words made sense. Manager Qin told them what might happen. But they would not give up unless they tried everything. You can go tomorrow, and I will take care of the family. Don't worry. Miss Fong was in a panic mode and she might not be capable of handling things currently. No one but Xiao Xian could bear the responsibilities of managing the house as of now. Chapter 498. Strange. Xiao Yunduan felt much calmer. They returned to the room and heard laughter. Everyone in there believed that Xiao Dalong would be able to recover completely, thus feeling relaxed. Seeing the scene, Xiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan felt even worse. They just could not imagine what the family would be like if elder brother's leg never healed. Especially Ms. Fong and Ms. Su. Xiao Yunduan put on a relatively cheerful face and said, Elder brother, what on earth happened today? Do you still remember? Everyone fell silent and turned to Xiao Dalong. Ms. Fong asked with her teeth clenched. Yes, tell me. What happened? Such a thing should not have occurred. The part of the canal that Xiao Dalong was working on was not on a high place. How could a stone hit him so badly? Xiao Dalong smiled bitterly. I wasn't paying attention. Ding Jinfa and Ding Jinkai were carrying a huge rock as they passed by the hill and got tripped. Then the rock rolled down along the hill and I failed to dodge it. Miss Fong felt so annoyed. That is all. Yeah, that's it. Damn it. Miss Fong clenched her teeth. They hurt you and they have said nothing to us? This is not done. Ms. Su agreed. Xiao Yunduan said, let's wait until tomorrow to see what they will do. It was an accident. But Xiao Dong was unlucky enough to have run into the Eclusie 11L. They all became less cheerful than before. Yang Xiaoni and Tao Tao made dinner and they found the day had turned dark and everyone was starving. Let's eat first. Ms. Fong smiled. Sanling, take the food to your elder brother first and you can eat later. Okay, Mom. Miss Su smiled. Mom, let me do that. I am capable of such small things. Xiao Xian smiled too. Yeah. Let the elder sister-in-law eat with the elder brother. They can keep each other company. That sounds great. Ms. Su added. Ms. Fong did not oppose it. She smiled and nodded in agreement. Xiao Sanlang was a foodie, but he could take the food to his elder brother before he himself ate. Xiao Xian admired their brotherhood. There was no news overnight. The next day, Xiao Yunduan left before the dawn broke. He was going to ask about doctors in the province. Xiao Yunduan did not tell Ms. Fang and eldest uncle about this until this morning. It was Qiao Xian who mentioned it. They all cheered. That is great. Daoist will be healed soon. Miss Su was so moved as she turned to Qiao Xian. Fifth sister-in-law, thank you all. Qiao Xian smiled. Don't mention it, elder sister-in-law. We are a family. Due to what happened to Xiao Dalong, they did not go into the mountains to cut the creeping figure. Xiao Sanlang and Xiao Xiaoqi were busy taking care of Xiao Deng. Qiao Xian asked Tao Tao to keep her company to drive to the Zhang village and to deliver the creeping figs which they had cut the day before, so Ding Erju and the others could plant them after a few days. Second uncle and third uncle came to check on the situation early the next day. Seeing Ms. Fang in a good mood, they heard Ms. Fang telling them that Xiao Dong would recover after a few days. They all nodded cheerfully and showed some care before leaving. Chapter 499. Apology. The news that Xiao Dalong would not limp was spread across the whole village. Only then did Ding Jinkai and his brother, together with their parents, came to the Xiao family to apologize, with lowered heads. Ms. Fang, Ms. Su and Ms. Chiao were really displeased, especially Ms. Fang and Ms. Su. They should have come to apologize the day before. But they simply rushed home after causing the accident, and Xiao Deng was not even carried back by them. They came to apologize only after they heard that Dalong was getting better. Ms. Fang sneered. What a rare thing that you remember to drop by today. I thought you chose to forget about it. Ms. Su was always quiet, but she added ironically this time. I thought they would have been here yesterday. The two brothers of the Ding family and their parents looked very embarrassed. Ding Jinkai's mother forced a smile. Apologies, they were too scared to face the matter. Both of us were furious with them. We scolded and beat them yesterday. But it was too late to visit you, so we come this morning. It is their fault, but please, don't be mad. Ms. Fang found the behavior to be disgusting. But she snorted coldly without saying anything more. Eldest uncle coughed. It was an accident. No one wanted it to happen. Dalong is doing well and you have already apologized to us, so, Ms. Fang cut in. So that is it? Luckily, my son is fortunate and strong. But when are you going to pay us the medical fees? Ding Jinkai and his brother, as well as parents, were startled. Medical fees? Yeah. Ms. Fang said, my son can't just both suffer physically and spend money too. Ding Jinkai mumbled. But we have no money. And you are so rich. His parents were silent, but they showed the same expression. Ms. Fang got annoyed and snapped. You made a mistake, and you don't even pay for the medical fees? It doesn't matter if we are rich or not. They did not do that on purpose. Qiao Xian smiled. Then, if someone does not do that on purpose, they can also just offer an apology and leave? Yeah, how can that be so easy and simple? Ms. Fang threw a look at them. You pay half, okay? The Ding family exchanged a look between themselves, at a loss of words. They did not do it deliberately. But Xiao Dalong did get injured because of them. The Xiao family was already kind enough to let them pay half of the medical fees. There was nothing they could do if they forced them to pay the full bill. Okay. Jinkai's father sighed, smiling bitterly. My son's made a mistake, and we will cover the fees. Ms. Fang looked less annoyed and added, you can pay us 2 liang first. I am not overcharging you. Those are real costs. Else, you can ask Manager Qin at Mingren Tang in the town about it. They believed what she said, but they could not accept it. Jinkai's parents tried to look poor and pleaded with Ms. Fang and eldest uncle about cutting the fees, which was turned down by Ms. Fang. She did not care about the exact amount. She just did not like how it happened. Chapter 500. Decision. Her son met an unexpected accident and she was already so annoyed and concerned. She spared some part of the fees for them and they still tried to bargain? Finally, it was Ding Jinkai who agreed suddenly. His parents were so anxious. But he nodded too fast and Ms. Fang accepted it quickly enough for his parents to be unable to turn the table. So, they had no choice but to go and fetch the money. Land Officer Ding came to visit them too. He even asked Xiao Dalong to get well and not worry about having to work for the repair of the canal anymore. That made Ms. Fong and the whole family annoyed. Xiao Dalong got injured because of the canal repair work. Although they did need the canal themselves, it was a project organized by the whole village. The village should pay some respect for Xiao Dalong's injuries. Land Officer Ding did not even show up earlier. He just asked his wife to come and check it out, showing a little concern and saying that they did not need to get involved with the labor for the canal repair any longer, as if the Xiao family was taking advantage of him. He was the land officer, and he was not related to the project directly. Ms. Fong and the family could not do anything about it. So they dropped it. Xiao Xian still decided to do something about it. I know some acupuncture. Mom, elder brother and elder sister-in-law, if you trust me, I can do something so that you can be relieved from pain. Xiao Dalong's wound was hurting terribly and he could not stand the pain as he groaned. That was when Xiao Xian mentioned this. The external wounds were causing him so much pain, despite the anti-inflammatory drugs. Xiao Dalong had never felt so much pain before. His head was turning dizzy and his eyes were blurry. He felt that even breathing was agony for him. Hearing Xiao Xian's words, he replied quickly. Please, fifth sister-in-law, thank you. Xiao Dalong sounded very determined, and both Ms. Fong and Ms. Su were startled. Ms. Fong glanced at Xiao Xian, nodding. Ms. Xiao, do it. Ms. Su was worried that Xiao Xian was just putting on a show. She wanted to intervene but then stopped herself. The fifth sister-in-law was just being kind. Moreover, she could not object when her mother-in-law and husband both approved of the suggestion. Fifth sister-in-law, just be careful. Don't force yourself. You are not a doctor, and if you fail, it is okay. What she meant was that if she could not do anything to make her husband feel better, she could just drop it directly. Xiao Xian knew that Ms. Su was worried about her husband, so even though she didn't speak nice words, Xiao Xian did not say anything about it but smiled. Xiao Xian had bought 3 silver needles from the province after the last incident. So, she managed to put on a proper show this time with them. Acupuncture was just an act. She was actually injecting superpower into Xiao Dalong's body and was trying to heal his wound from inside. Ms. Fong and Ms. Su knew nothing. They were easily fooled. But she could not make Xiao Dalong recover instantly. After all, he was injured very badly. Hence, Xiao Xian concentrated her superpower on the broken bones. Gradually, he would turn better and others would link it to using good medicine and resting well, rather than suspect the strangeness of his recovery. As the superpower went into his body and caressed the pain, Xiao Dalong suddenly felt relief. He became far more relaxed. Chapter 501. The second one. Seeing the change in his expression, both Ms. Fong and Ms. Su became happy. It works. That is great, Ms. Qiao. Take it slow. Thank you so much, fifth sister-in-law. Xiao Xian stopped after about 15 minutes. She wiped the sweat on her forehead, smiling. This is all for today. Elder brother needs a break. Xiao Dalong smiled and nodded. Thanks, fifth sister-in-law. The following day, Xiao Xian conducted the treatment again on Xiao Dalong, who started to feel hungry after the treatment. Everyone from the first section of the family got really happy. Xiao Xian let out a sigh of relief. It was good that her superpower worked. Elder brother's leg was definitely going to be fine. What Manager Qin had said would not happen. By the evening of the third day, Xiao Yunduan came back with a doctor and his disciple, accompanied by Chu Shan. They had managed to get a famous doctor from the province, and they all received the person politely. This Dr. Dong was an expert in trauma orthopedics. He was well known and used to being praised by others, so he naturally had a bit of a temper. But Dr. Dong was very friendly when he came to the first section of the family. Young Master Xie and young Master Yuezheng had both informed him about this, and he, for the sake of those 2 important figures, restrained his arrogance. Dr. Dong hurried to this place to check up Xiao Dalong, knowing that they were in a hurry. He smiled after checking his injuries. Don't worry, I will write a prescription and leave a portion of ointment and plaster. He should take it orally and apply it externally. You must carefully clean the wound with water every morning and night, and keep the wound clean. Also, don't let him get injured again. He should lie down and rest well. After 10 days or so, he can go down to the ground and ask someone to help him walk a few steps slowly. After 2 or 3 months of proper care, he will basically recover. However, it is best not to do heavy work for half a year. That was almost the same as what Manager Qin said. It made Ms. Fong feel very relieved. She constantly expressed her gratitude. Xiao Yunduan got really surprised inwardly since he was one of the 2 people who had heard the truth. Manager Qin had not said the same thing. Manager Qin would never have lied to him, and he should not be less capable than Dr. Dong. Xiao Yunduan sounded skeptical. For real? Dr. Dong turned a little displeased when he was doubted by someone. He was used to being trusted implicitly. But he nodded and said calmly instead of showing any displeasure, "Yes. I have been working as a doctor for years and I will never make such a simple mistake." This was just an external wound. He could not stand it when he was not trusted. Xiao Yunduan suddenly realized that he had said something improper. He apologized. "Sorry, Dr. Dong, I am not doubting you. It is just that I feel very worried. Thanks for your efforts, Dr. Dong." Dr. Dong relaxed after hearing his words. True, young master was just so worried about his elder brother that he could not believe what had happened. They had a great brotherhood. Dr. Dong ignored the mistake and consoled him. "Don't worry, I can definitely help him recover." It was getting late. Dr. Dong and his disciple spent the night at the first section of the family. Seeing that the situation was getting better, Xiao Xian went to cook food with Tao Tao and Qi helping her. They soon had 3 dishes ready. There was stir-fried smoked meat with garlic sprouts, steamed sausage, fried winter bamboo shoots, spinach and egg soup for Dr. Dong and his disciple. Chapter 502. Relief. The smell of smoked meat and sausages was fragrant, the winter bamboo shoots were delicious and tender, and the hot spinach and egg soup made people warm and comfortable. The food made them, who had been driving the whole day, feel so refreshed. They could not help but develop good feelings towards the Xiao family. The meal just eased them up. Back in the room, Xiao Yunduan smiled and said that they could really be relieved after listening to the doctor's words. Xiao Yunduan could not understand the truth and Xiao Xian found it funny. She was not confused at all but still tried to cover it up. She explained. "It is said that there is a specialization in surgery. Dr. Dong is good at treating trauma, so it is not surprising that he can diagnose more accurately than Manager Qin. Furthermore, the elder brother had just been injured on the day when Manager Qin came, so the doctor's diagnosis might not be so accurate at that time. After all, no one knows how well the elder brother's body can heal. Now it seems that it has something to do with the elder brother's physique. Perhaps the eldest brother himself tends to recover easily." Xiao Yunduan thought what Xiao Xian said made sense. But something seemed amiss after pondering over it. He might have overthought about this. Thankfully, it was all good now. Xiao Yunduan slightly relaxed and nodded with a smile. "You are right, darling." Dr. Dong and his disciple left early the next morning, since the patient's situation wasn't urgent. Xiao Xian conducted 2 more days of acupuncture and after the medication from the new doctor, Xiao Dalong felt much better. His wounds still ached, and there was inflammation, but the pain did not cause him too much discomfort. It was bearable. Xiaodong was so grateful and kept thanking Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian. "Oh yes, 5th sister-in-law, I can just stay here and rest. You can do whatever you want. Don't bother about me. I am sorry that I can't help you now. That is okay." Xiao Yunduan smiled. "We can take it slow with our work. Elder brother, just focus on your recovery." Seeing that Xiao Delong was doing well, Xiao Xian and the others went into the mountains to cut the creeping figs. Xiao Xian did not allow Xiao Yunduan to tag along. He was not needed for the remaining work. It should turn out well. Xiao Xian and Xiao Sanlang, Yang Xiaoni, Tao Tao and Qi spent 3 days gathering enough creeping figs. Then, their work would be sorting flower fields, digging the soil and removing weeds. They hired Xiao Dali and a few others from the village for help, together with Yang Xiaoni, Qi and Tao Tao who supervised the work. They only hired people with sealed lips. The hired workers saw a house inside the flower field and got curious, but they stopped prying when Tao Tao said that it was a place for them to take a break and appreciate flowers. No one saw the whole set of tools of lipsticks inside, thus saying nothing. The whole village soon learned about the hiring. Xiao hired 3 families including Xiao Dali, who were paid 30 won each. It was a great deal. Everyone in the village got really jealous about it. The second and third section of the family were furious. But they thought of how they owed them the free labor. They gave up making a fuss since they did not want to work for the first section of the family for no payment. Moreover, Miss Fong was not in a good mood these days due to Xiao Dalong's accident. So, the other sections of the family did not dare to cause any trouble. Chapter 503, A Stories. Zhang still tried to make a fuss, sneering in front of Ms. Yen. Aren't you visiting the first section of the family every day and sucking up to them? I thought they were nice to you. But look, you are nothing in their eyes. Ms. Yen chuckled. I am not sure what you mean, second sister-in-law. They treat me nicely. We are relatives, but I never thought about getting any benefits from them. So, you are worrying unnecessarily. Ms. Zhang snorted, sounding disdainful. She believed that it was Ms. Yen who didn't want to admit it. Ms. Yen did not want to argue with Ms. Zhang over this point. She had no interest in explaining it any further to Ms. Zhang. She did not care what Ms. Zhang thought about her relationship with the first section of the family. It was none of her business anyway. Ms. Yen still visited the first section of the family every day. Sometimes the visit was a little longer, sometimes a little shorter. But she was always there. The cutting of the creeping figs was completed within 2 days. Xiao went to visit the Zhang village again. Accompanied by Ding Erju and his wife, they went to survey the field of the creeping figs as well as the tea forest. She claimed that she wanted to see how the creeping figs and the trees were growing whilst in fact, she was trying to put her superpower into the plants. Otherwise, the trees were withering and the creeping figs might not survive. Xiao pretended to be tired and took a break, during which time, she silently exerted her superpower, bringing vitality to the plants. Xiao could sense that the trees that had been running out of water were already growing back at a very high speed. The creeping figs had full buds and found roots underground, that made Xiao feel assured. She was going to exert one more burst of her superpower, so the plants should grow better. Back at home, she ran into Ms. Yen, Ms. Fong and Ms. Su having a nice conversation. Xiao walked in and greeted them as she turned to the backyard to wash hands. Fifth sister-in-law, Ms. Yen followed up. Xiao looked up at her, smiling. Hi, second sister-in-law. Ms. Yen looked hesitant, but she lowered her voice. I need to tell you something. Xiao was surprised. Ms. Yen was a cautious person. She must have been bothered by something when she hesitated with her words. Come to my place. Xiao led Ms. Yen to the east wing of her yard. Ms. Yen let out a big sigh as if she were making a big decision. She said to Xiao in a low voice, I bumped into Land Officer Ding and Widow Sun talking in the bamboo forest near Widow Sun's garden. I was close by, but they did not notice me. Ms. Yen happened to be in the neighborhood area near Widow Sun's home yesterday afternoon when she was picking vegetables. Ms. Yen saw some winter bamboos in the forest, thus hoping to try some luck. Unexpectedly, her luck wasn't with her. She did not find the winter bamboos, but accidentally ran into the affairs of Land Officer Ding and Widow Sunday. Ms. Yen got so frightened. But the thick, tall bush in the forest sheltered her. She collapsed and her hands covered her chest tightly, holding back her breath. She was a newcomer to the village. She should not reveal this to anyone else, even if she saw that. Chapter 504. No evidence. She would find herself in trouble if she spilled the beans to anyone. But she overheard their conversation. They were talking about Xiao Dalong's injuries. It was not an accident. Land Officer Ding made this happen just to flatter Widow Sunday. Widow Sun kept cursing the first section of the Xiao family, especially Ms. Fong, Xiao and Xiao Yinduan. She cursed at them so fiercely as if they were her worst enemies. Widow Sun kept blaming the land officer for not being able to do this well. She said that he should have ruined Xiao Dalong's legs, rather than leave him any chance to recover. Widow Sun hated them so deeply. She wanted to take revenge upon Xiao Yinduan and Xiao Xian, but she had no chance with one of them being the cultivated talent and the other the daughter of the county magistrate. She did not dare to offend them, after all. But she did not want the first section of the family to have a good time. So, she had eyes upon the most down-to-earth man in the family, Xiao Deng. As long as everything turned messy in the first section of the Xiao family, she would be really pleased. When she heard that Xiao Delong had been hit on the legs and passed out, and that his legs might get ruined, Widow's son felt so pleased. But soon the pleasure was gone after one day. Hence, she became really furious. Seeing Land Officer Ding, she started to complain. Land Officer Ding had intended to visit her the day before, but she did not open the door. Still, he caught her when she came to the vegetable garden today by pretending as if he were passing by, after seeing that no one was around. Ms. Yen accidentally ran into this conversation. Ms. Yen did not even have the strength to get up until they two left. She wondered what on earth was the grudge between Widow's son and the first section of the family that she hated them so much. She wondered if she should reveal this secret. If she kept the secret, she would feel very uncomfortable in heart, but if she told the first section of the family about it, she would be doing them a huge favor, which she did not want to waste so easily. She had no evidence. Nor did she want to get involved with this thing. She was a newcomer, and if she was involved, her reputation might be ruined. After thinking for a long while, Ms. Yen finally decided to tell Xiao Xian about it first. She believed that Xiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan were calm people who would know what to do with this matter properly. If she told this to Ms. Fang and Ms. Su, Ms. Yen would not be able to imagine what might happen. Xiao Xian was shocked. Are you sure, second sister-in-law? For real? Widow's son had never had a good reputation, and Xiao Xian heard some gossip about her too. But Xiao Xian never believed those groundless rumors. Widows were always the topic of gossip for some people. But Widow's son was over the top. Ms. Yen felt relieved after telling her. She nodded. I am not mistaken. I saw through the cracks. It was them. Xiao Xian, she felt fury arising inside her heart. That is disgusting. Fifth sister-in-law, please calm down. Ms. Yen felt her heart throbbing. Fifth sister-in-law, should you speak with fifth brother about this first? Don't tell eldest aunt right now. She might rush into Widow's son and the land officers' homes to make a fuss about it. If that happened, things would get worse. Xiao Xian took a deep breath. Second sister-in-law, don't worry. I will talk about this with my husband first, and we will never tell anyone else, including Mom, about it. We have no evidence at the moment, after all. Chapter 505. Revenge. Also, I will never mention your name either. Ms. Yen let out a sigh of relief, but felt her legs getting weak. She said gratefully, Thanks, fifth sister-in-law, for your kindness. Xiao Xian smiled. I should thank you for telling me this. Ms. Yen did not have to get involved in this. If she kept this to herself, no one would know about it ever. Ms. Yen smiled. I would feel uneasy in my heart if I kept it to myself. That was true. Xiao Xian asked a few more questions about this, and Ms. Yen gave her as many details as she could. Then she left when there was nothing else to share. The moment she left, Xiao Xian went to Xiao Yunduan. She needed to tell Xiao Yunduan about this as early as possible. Xiao Yunduan got so furious that he struck his hand hard on the table, looking lethal and cold. Xiao Xian's heart throbbed. She shivered. She had never seen Xiao Yunduan getting angry like this. Even on the wedding night when she almost killed herself, he had not been this angry. You! She tugged Xiao Yunduan's sleeves with some hesitation. Darling, don't be too angry. Elder brother is getting better, right? Anyways, what do you intend to do about it? Xiao Yunduan was not going to let it go so easily. Xiao Xian could tell that from his expressions. Unfortunately, there was no evidence, and the land officer as well as the widow were two special status people, very difficult to deal with. Xiao Yunduan calmed himself down and turned to look at Xiao Xian gently. I have my own thoughts about this. You should pretend as if you never heard about this. Be sure not to tell Mom and elder sister-in-law. He did not want this to spoil her ears. Mom was impulsive and she should not learn about this. The elder sister-in-law was pregnant and she must be kept away from this as well. He should be the one who should take revenge. Seeing Xiao Yunduan's look, Xiao Xian understood that her husband planned to do it in secret. After all, there was no open method that could be used for revenge. But you should be careful not to get involved. He had a promising future, and he should not bet on it. Flossed, he might lose big. Xiao Yunduan nodded gently. I know my limit. Don't worry. Xiao Xian smiled but again asked in confusion. Do we have any grudge with Widow Sun for her to do something like this? What made her so angry that Widow Sun would combine forces with the land officer to set up her family? Xiao Delong was the victim this time, what about next time? If she dared to do that once, what would stop her from doing it again? The threat should be removed, or they will never have a peaceful life. Xiao Xian did not think that the grudge would have originated from the time when she argued with her along with mother-in-law a while back. Villagers always had disputes with each other, and they would still talk normally after a few quarrels. They even hung out normally. Nobody became each other's worst enemy. Xiao Yunduan had been studying at the college in the town and was devoted to examinations. He knew nothing. Hearing her question, he got confused too. Xiao Xian said, I can ask mom or elder sister-in-law about this implicitly. Maybe the elder sister-in-law knows something. Xiao Yunduan thought for a while and nodded in agreement. He was curious too. Don't rush into it. Ask when you have the chance, otherwise they might sense something to be amiss. Xiao Xian chuckled. I know. I am good at it. Chapter 506. For his elder brother. When Ms. Yen visited them again, Xiao Xian greeted her happily as if nothing had happened. That made Ms. Yen feel less worried. She knew that Xiao Xian had lived up to her promise. Xiao Xian started to sort out one moo in the garden for cultivating tea tree buds. When the land was sorted well, the tea seeds could be buried. With the help of her superpower, she could make the transplantation happen by early April. At that time, the tea trees would grow to a certain height. They would be trimmed in autumn and harvested for the next year. She could also put some superpower into the tea tree buds and the creeping figs so they could grow faster and better. No one had any prior knowledge about it, so even if it grew fast, people might assume that it should be like this. Then, she would work on mushrooms, wooden ears, and snow fungus. This batch of white fungus grew quite a lot. The snow-white fungus once bloomed like clouds and flowers. They were thick and beautiful. They were carefully picked one by one and spread out in a dustpan to dry. Xiao Xian told Xiao Yunduan that when the mushrooms and snow fungus were sun-dried, they would visit the province to buy some laborers as well as lotus root, water chestnuts, and so on to plant in the pond. Xiao Yunduan nodded in agreement. Hearing about Widow Sun and Land Officer Ding's conspiracy, Xiao Yunduan went out every night. He even asked Xiao Xian to sleep first instead of waiting for him to return. Xiao Xian had no idea what was going on, but by the third night, Xiao Xian understood the situation. He was watching over at Widow Sun's door. He was doing everything he could for his elder brother. Xiao Xian was surprised, but found his behavior reasonable too. Catching them on the spot was the only method. If his plan was to catch them red-handed, the best method was to be the most patient hunter who guarded their prey until they came to the trap. He did not want her to know about his plan, but Xiao Xian did not ask him either. They both knew what was happening. Xiao Yunduan was not in a hurry. He guarded the place for 7 days in a row until he finally, on the 8th night, saw Land Officer Ding sneaking into Widow Sun's yard. Xiao Yunduan waited and did not leave until half an hour later. Suddenly, fire broke out in Widow Sun's home that night, and almost half of the village went to help put out the fire. Land Officer Ding got so anxious that he wanted to leave directly, but the windows and doors were all shut from outside, and he could not leave at all. So, everyone who came to help put out the fire got shocked seeing Land Officer Ding sneaking out of Widow Sun's room. What was going on? They understood immediately that Land Officer Ding was not in Widow Sun's room for a friendly chat. They were doing something indecent. Land Officer Ding realized that he had been set up and became furious. He wished that he could disappear from there out of shame, when everyone was teasing him. He knew that he was done this time. Luckily, his wife and 2 sons were not here to put out the fire, otherwise he would be so humiliated. Widow Sun was shocked too. She flushed deeply, but soon, she understood what she should do. She took hold of Land Officer Ding suddenly and glanced at the crowd. I am remarrying Brother Ding as his concubine. We are not doing anything wrong. Chapter 507. Concubine. The land officer was startled, but recovered quickly. Yeah, that is true. Then why not share it earlier and instead do it on the sly? But for the fire tonight, you would not have said this to us. True. It is a terrible excuse. You think we are all fools? Shame on you. We are not going to have such a shameless land officer here. True. All of those who countered the land officer had the family name of Xiao. Those surnamed Ding understood what was going on, and thus did not help the land officer. Widow Sun did not care. She kept arguing with the others, saying that she was the land officer's concubine. So, they were not wrong in their conduct. In the end, when this news was spread to the clan, they both retreated. Land officer quit his position as the land officer, whilst it was time for someone with a family name of Xiao to take over the position. The clan did not go any further with this. Also, from that moment on, Widow Sun became Ding Jiahao. The former land officer's concubine. Widow Sun let out a sigh of relief and gave in. She was just defending herself. It did not depend on her whether she became the concubine. It was not announced, so she could not be counted as one, no matter what. When Ding Jiahao went out of her house deep at night, it was already a very bad situation. She was very afraid that Ding Jiahao would blame her for this affair, saying that she seduced him when they were caught on the spot. It was a big problem. So, she came up with the idea of dragging him down. A concubine was the last choice, but they could at least survive in this way. The land officer had some feelings towards her, and if she could work on him well, she would lead a good life. As for those with a family name of Xiao, they had never liked land officer Ding in the first place since he always favored those surnamed Ding. So, they took this chance to push him down. They were in the same village and they could not drive away the entire Ding clan. Hence, they forced him to give up the position of land officer and have someone with the family name of Xiao take it up. In this way, the whole thing was over. Also, they promised not to spread the rumor. The Ding families let out a sigh of relief. If the news was spread, not only the land officer himself, but everyone with the family name of Ding would be humiliated. A land officer slept with the wife of a distant cousin. That sounded ridiculous. Although they could not completely stop it from spreading, it was enough when the rumor was limited within a certain range. There was nothing more they could do about it. After all, many people witnessed the scene the other night. Soon, a new land officer was elected from the Xiao families, namely the second grandpa of Xiao Daoist's father. He was always just and fair, a highly respected, elderly man in the village. So, he made for a very convincing land officer. Xiao Yunduan, who actually overturned the table, was never found out except by Qiao Xian. Qiao Xian guessed that it was her husband who did it, but she needed to verify this after being driven by curiosity. She asked Xiao Yunduan carefully that same night. You did it, didn't you? Xiao Yunduan laughed, seeing her careful look. He turned to her and nodded with a look of profoundness. Yeah. Qiao Xian felt satisfied and smiled. Well done. Thanks for your help, darling. Xiao Yunduan smiled. This is what I should do. And, he added, if anyone gives you a hard time, I will defend you and take revenge for you as well. Chapter 508. A huge trap. Xiao Xian was startled, and then felt warm by his words. She chuckled and nodded. She suddenly thought that he could be a scholar who would be imposing and brimming with unique ideas. On the other hand, it was a very lively scene at Ding Jiahao's home. Since Widow Sun became Ding Jiahao's concubine, she was not allowed to live outside with Ding Qingqing, her daughter. Widow Sun tried to keep things the way they were, saying that she and her daughter could live in their old house. But Ding Jiahao's wife, Miss Qiu, did not want this to happen. She wondered when this bitch seduced her husband and forced herself to become his concubine, costing her husband's position as land officer and causing her to be laughed at by the whole village. So, she was not going to let this bitch do whatever she wanted. Ms. Chiu said, "You are my husband's concubine, so you have to move in with us, in case someone spreads a rumor about you being mistreated. We can't afford to have our reputation ruined, and you can't let others talk, right?" When this was said, Ding Jiahao started to hesitate, even though Widow's son had whispered so many things into his ears. If she lived alone outside, she might hook up with someone else, and that would be a huge humiliation for him. Widow's son had to bite the bullet, and she moved into Ding Jiahao's home, after being stared at by the whole Ding family. Ms. Chiu took her 2 sons and 2 daughter-in-laws to help her move, and they scraped away every worthy penny from her. Widow's son wanted to make a fuss about it, but Ms. Chiu sneered. "You are just a concubine and you have no rights to counter me. Are you trying to set up rules for yourself? You are under my charge, and everything of yours is mine." Ms. Chiu's son and daughter-in-law had terrible expressions on their faces. Widow's son felt so annoyed but did not dare to counter her. She was Ding Jiahao's concubine, and Ms. Chiu could do whatever she wanted with her, like how mother-in-law did. Her mother-in-law would try to keep the reputation when dealing with her daughter-in-law, but when the wife was dealing with a concubine, she could even get her killed. Widow's son felt so miserable. Only now did she realize what her clever trick had cost her. The big trap, there was. But if she did not jump into the trap, she might have been ruined by Ding Jiahao. They had hooked up because both of them felt like it, and they were in deep love when they had no conflict of interest. But when their interests clashed, they would understand exactly what they ought to do individually. Unfortunately, she had no other choice. She also knew that Ms. Chiu was angry, and that her sons and daughters-in-law must hate her. So, Widow's son had no choice but to tolerate Ms. Chiu's torment. As for Ding Qingqing, she moved into Ding Jiahao's home as well and called Ms. Chiu as the mother, and addressed Widow's son as Auntie Mother. She would be lectured if addressing her wrongly, and so would Widow's son. Ding Qingqing had been so shocked by what had happened, and was uneasy every single day after that. Widow's son had not expected her daughter to suffer, though she herself suffered from Ms. Chiu's torment. But when she tried to defend Ding Qingqing, Ms. Chiu sneered. "Don't you dare forget who will have the say about this girl's marriage eventually." That threw Widow's son deep into the bottom of the valley, and they did not dare to say one thing. She even privately told Ding Qingqing to work hard, so that Ms. Chiu would not be pissed. This incident would become a fun topic in town, let alone in the village where people craved gossip as entertainment in the days to come. Chapter 509. Scary. Everyone was watching Ding Jiahao's family and the show between Widow's son and Ms. Chiu, which was spread across the whole village and had become a good pastime between teas and meals. Yang Xiaoni was always out to hear gossip, so the first section of the family learned about the matter as well. Xiao Xian felt so happy to hear about the bad experience of Widow Sunday. She deserved to be punished by someone like Ms. Chiu. As for how it was for Ding Qingqing, well, she was suffering because of what her mother did, and no one was going to offer any help. So, one should be moral and have conscience. Otherwise the punishment would come on either her or her children, and nobody would feel sorry for that. Ms. Yan was almost sure that what happened between Widow's son and Ding Jiahao might have something to do with Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian. But she did not dare ask a thing. She subconsciously started to respect and feel scared of Xiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan. That was a scary couple. She made up her mind never to offend them or the first section of the family. Her in-laws did not get punished by Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian because they were relatives who were just kicked away or ignored by the couple whenever they made a fuss with the family. If they really wanted to teach them a lesson, they would surely not have a good ending. Ms. Yen felt very nervous about the disputes that her in-laws kept creating with the first section of the family. Ms. Yen suddenly lost interest in getting angry when Ms. Zhang kept causing trouble. If Ms. Zhang did not stop, Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian would teach her a good lesson sooner or later. But would Ms. Zhang know that she should stop someday? That seemed nearly impossible. So, what she needed to do was to watch and learn. When mushrooms, wooden ears and snow fungus were dried, Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian picked a day to visit the province. The mushrooms were ready to be sold to Yuezheng Xiao, as they had promised earlier. After this, they would buy some laborers and get ready for the spring plow. There was enough work headed their way, including seedlings, making rakes, planting corn, taro, soybeans, planting vegetables, cleaning bamboo mountains. Once the spring warmed up, the farmers tended to get very busy. Around that time, the tea saplings will grow taller and it would be time to transplant them. The flowers in the flower field were about to bloom and needed to be made into lipsticks. Xianxia and everyone else would get much busier than before. Once they returned from the province, peach and apricot flowers should die in bloom. There were not many, but they would also be enough to make some lipsticks. After that, roses and Chinese roses and pomegranate flowers would follow, keeping them busy for half a year. Ms. Su was pregnant, so she could only be of a little help, whilst Xiao Dalong needed to recoup his injury. Xiao Yunduan was focusing on his studies, which reduced the number of people contributing to the tasks by a large degree. As a result, they had to buy some helpers. This time when they came to the province, they didn't stay at the hostel, but headed directly to the Yuezheng family. The doctor whom Xiao Yunduan had hired was living in the Yuezheng mansion. Old Master and First Madam moved back to the mansion during the Chinese New Year, and a capable person like First Madam had already taken over the affairs in the mansion whilst Old Master focused on the business. It all worked out well. Ms. Mi Jr. was so annoyed that she almost passed out. She tried to cause some trouble but got pushed away by First Madam, failing to do anything else. First Madam treated Xiaoxian as their savior, so she would be really hurt if Xiaoxian and Xiao Yunduan did not come to live in the mansion when they were in province. Days got longer after the new year, and when Xiaoxian and Xiao Yunduan came to the Yuezheng family, it was still bright outside. Chapter 510. Visit in province. The housekeeper recognized Xiao Yunduan immediately, and when he saw both of them coming, he invited them in passionately. He rushed to inform the First Madam and Old Master as well as the third young master of their arrival. Although he had no idea what the relationship between young Master Xiao and Old Master was, he knew that Old Master and First Madam considered them as very important figures. Xiao Yunduan had mentioned on the day when he came over to ask for the doctor that he would come and visit them soon. So, their arrival was not very sudden. Yuezheng Xiao came to greet them personally and they laughed and talked happily. Xiao Xian had carried mushrooms, wooden ears and snow fungus with them. Yuezheng Xiao asked his men to carry them all into his yard and started to check them out. Yuezheng Xiao's eyes sparkled when he saw what was in front of him. He patted Xiao Yunduan's shoulders. "Brother Xiao, these are wonderful snow fungus. And these mushrooms, wooden ears are all in great form. Oh my, your village is great, and it has everything." Xiao Yunduan. Xiao Xian chuckled. Yuezheng Xiao asked about the weight of those things and informed them about the market price. Then he bought them all with a price twice more than that in the market. The first-class dried snow fungus weighed 36 liang for half a kilo, and sun-dried mushrooms and wooden ears were priced at 101 and 61 for half a kilo respectively. This amounted to more than 700 liang in total. Xiao Xian had not expected that the snow fungus and mushrooms, as well as wooden ears, would have different pricing when she started to plant them. She had thought that they would simply be measured by weight. She was planning to plant enoki mushrooms, oyster mushrooms, straw mushrooms, and tea tree mushrooms in the future. It seemed that all kinds of mushrooms could be sold for money. Then she learned that snow fungus was not easily planted, and the price was very high. In comparison, the other mushrooms were much cheaper. But they had already planted mushrooms and wooden ears, so she would reduce the amount and plant more snow fungus next time. She was going to start by having a few mu of snow fungus at the Zhang village in the near future. Then she was going to expand the scale slowly. She would have to add a few more categories of mushrooms. All of them could earn money, which was what mattered above all. Soon, Yuezheng Xiao dealt with the things they had got and took them to the guest room. "You can stay here for a few more days. The weather is getting warmer. There are many beautiful sights outside the city to visit." Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian exchanged a look and said with a smile, "Let's see. We will be here before the autumn examination. Please don't think we are annoying by that time, Brother Yuezheng." Yuezheng Xiao patted his head and chuckled. "I almost forgot about that. Do remember to come early at that time." After exchanging a few more words, Yuezheng Xiao waited for Qiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan to put away their stuff, and came to greet Old Master and First Madam together. Yuezheng Xiao's elder brother, Yuezheng, was at home too. Yuezheng and his wife were heading towards their parents to meet Xiao Yunduan and Qiao Xian. The first section of the Yuezheng family were all so thankful towards Qiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan. But for Qiao Xian, they would still be in a very bad situation. First Madam liked Qiao Xian very much. She treated her as her daughter, which she did not have. It was getting very late, so they did not visit Madame Yuezheng. But they sent a messenger to tell Madame Yuezheng that they had guests. Learning that it was a poor couple visiting, Ms. Mi Jr. felt annoyed and remained indifferent. Chapter 511. A Lovely Treatment. Mi Jr. sneered and told her maid that the first section of the family always hung out with filthy, lowly people. A cultivated talent was not that great or worthy enough to spend so many efforts on. The first section of the family arranged a nice, simple treatment for Qiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan in the main hall. It was a lovely evening. Hearing that Qiao Xian was here to buy laborers, First Madam said that she could help. She would go along so that the agencies don't cheat them. That was exactly what Qiao Xian hoped to ask her for. She thanked her gratefully. Agencies were always very tricky. They had all kinds of ideas going on in their minds. An agency would probably sell them bad quality people, seeing that Qiao Xian was not a local resident and the laborers could not be refunded once purchased. With First Madam keeping her company, things would be different. No agency would dare lie to the First Madam of the Yuezheng family. Early next morning, First Madam was about to take Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian to greet Madame Yuezheng, but Madame Yuezheng turned her down. The meeting was cancelled. First Madam asked the maid, "Did second Mrs. Yuezheng visit Madame Yuezheng this morning?" The maid nodded, without concealing a thing. First Madam snorted and understood what was going on. This sister-in-law of hers spared no efforts to give her trouble. Never mind, she didn't care. They could treat their own guests well enough. First Madam sent her men to pass on messages to the agencies she was familiar with, setting up an appointment that they were going to buy good laborers. She took Qiao Xian around during the next 2 days. As for Xiao Yunduan, he was hanging out with Yuezheng Xiao and Xianxia. The three of them headed elsewhere. At this time, the plum blossoms in the Fuyu Temple outside the city were in full bloom. It was a good time to appreciate plum blossoms. First Madam said to Qiao Xian with a smile, "The plum blossoms in Fuyu Temple are a must-see sight in the province. You guys came here just in time. It would be a pity if you didn't go and see them. Especially those green plums. They are the most authentic. There is the oldest green plum tree in the plum grove, which is said to be hundreds of years old. It is said that it is the mother of all green plums in the world. All the green plums in other places are born from this plant." Qiao Xian's eyes sparkled and she asked with a smile, "Is that true? Then it must be a very precious plant." She loved precious plants. First Madam didn't know the inside story, but she could see that Qiao Xian was very happy to hear this. When Qiao Xian was happy, it meant that she had done a good job as the host, so she was also glad. She nodded with a smile. "That's naturally precious. It's a treasure in the temple. Let's go today. It's the perfect time. We can just buy a few sticks of incense and come back after having a fasting meal in the temple. The temple food in Fuyu Temple is a must-have, and the scenery in the temple is also good. It is worth the trip." Qiao Xian was looking forward to it already. First Madam arranged the wagon and they went out together. The plums were blooming and it was very lively inside the temple. There were 2 patches of plum trees in the temple. There was a large area of plum forests without any marked boundary in the back mountain, which was open to all pilgrims, and everyone could go to enjoy the flowers. There were all kinds of red, white, pink and green plums, and they were in full bloom. They were beautiful and very lively. There was another more exquisite plum garden, which was spread across 10 mu. It was built around the rare green plum that had been around for hundreds of years. This place was far more exquisite, whether it was the shape of the tree, the color of the tree, or the matching scenery. It contained various different pavilions. But it was not open to the public. Only people with considerable status, or those who had donated a large sum of incense money to the temple were eligible to go inside. Chapter 5:12. Ancient Green Plum. Some scholars were also allowed in who gathered there to brew tea, make poetry, and do paintings. The place where the first madam took Xianxia to was this small plum garden. The large patch of plum is more lively, located in the back mountains. Let's walk around here and then head to the back mountain. Xianxia nodded with a smile. The plum garden was in a very beautiful location. The trees were full of flowers and branches were full of plum blossoms. The clouds were misty and seemed to have descended to earth, which created a wonderful scene. First Madam had not appreciated flowers for years. This year also, she had almost missed the chance to see the plums. So, when she saw the scene, she became very emotional at this time. But for Xianxia, who healed her husband, she would not have the time to visit this place full of beautiful flowers in her entire life. As she thought about this, she threw an even more gentle look at Xianxia. First Madam led Xianxia to look at the flowers, as they headed towards the ancient green plum tree. When the tree appeared in front of her eyes, Xiaoxian's eyes turned bright. She felt that the whole scene turned so clear. So, the space wanted it as well. The ancient green plum was very thick, and the dark branches were vigorous and simple, revealing the vicissitudes of time. But the tree was full of vitality and blooming flowers. They could smell the wonderful scent even from far away. The plum blossom stamens were really dark, and the color gradually became lighter when it spread outwards. When it reached the end of the petals, it turned very pale. It almost looked white from a distance. But when you looked closely, you could see a faint trace of greenery. There was not only this green plum in this garden. All the way here, Xiaoxian had seen many green plums. But they were not as beautiful, elegant, and noble as the one in front of her. Also, the flowers were not so pure or crystal clear. She understood the matter in her heart. No wonder it was said to be a mother tree. It was naturally different from the others. Whether it was grafted or bred, the green plum next to it had not completely copied and inherited the beautiful color of the mother tree. No wonder her space had this strong reaction towards this very green plum. This is the ancient green plum tree? How beautiful! Xiaoxian approached it, looking excited. First Madam smiled. Yeah, everyone loves it. The plum tree was very big. First Madam and her servant were also admiring the plum blossoms. Xiaoxian turned her back to her a little further away, gently raised her hand to stroke the flower branch, and with a little force, quickly snapped off a 2-inch long flower branch. She quickly put the flower branch into the space. She felt slightly apologetic. She raised her hands and put her hand on the branch, silently putting the superpower into the ancient green plums so as to inject her magical energy into it. She said quietly, "I will give you magical energy after taking one branch from you. We are even now." She could have never got a branch of the green plum tree, which was regarded as a treasure by Fuyu Temple, if she asked for it from the monks. So, she had to deal with the ancient green plum directly. With the green plum in hand, Xiaoxian was in a good mood and walked around with First Madam. They went to a few other places in the temple, and it was lunchtime. Every table in Fuyu Temple's vegetarian restaurant had 12 dishes and 1 soup. They entered the private room, and the vegetarian dishes served in white porcelain bowls were quickly served. Each dish seemed great and had a beautiful name, looking delicious. Chapter 5:13. Your moralities. For example, Chinese cabbage with mushrooms and bamboo shoots were called double winter and white snow. Tofu soup was called cloud and wall. Vegetables, winter bamboo shoots, mushrooms, tofu, and gluten were carefully cooked together, and the taste was as delicious as that of meat dishes. Later, Xiaoxian learned that the vegetarian banquet cost 100 liang for one table, since they were such precious dishes. In the afternoon, First Madam kept Xiaoxian company to pay a visit to the plum forest in the back mountains, where the flowers were growing freely. There were many visitors there and they were all chatting, which was a starkly different scene compared to that from the quiet, small, plum garden. The two of them had a good time and were very happy when they went home. First Madam smiled. "Let's go shopping tomorrow. It is getting very warm and there are many new garments and ornaments as well as cosmetics in the market these days. You are young and you should dress up well. I am sure that we will get some suitable ones for you to wear even at home. Every woman loved to go shopping. Also, it was much more convenient to have someone like First Madam with her. Xianxia smiled brightly. Satisfied, First Madam smiled again. Just tell me whenever you spot something great. I am willing to buy everything for you. Xianxia smiled. I will definitely tell you. First Madam laughed. Great. The two of them returned to the mansion and heard the message from Yuezheng Xiao that they were not coming back for dinner. First Madam did not care. She asked the kitchen to get some small dishes prepared since only she and Xiaoxian would be there for dinner. But before dinner, Ms. Mi Jr. and Yuezheng Ting showed up. Elder sister-in-law. Hey, elder aunt. Both of them greeted First Madam but ignored Xiaoxian, who was sitting next to her. They did not even want to have a look at her. Ms. Mi Jr. passed an invitation to the First Madam. This is Madam Jia's invitation, asking us to attend a flower feast in a couple of days. Madam Jia and we are in a good relationship. I am sure that you won't turn her down for no reason, right? Elder sister-in-law? She finally glanced at Xiaoxian and smiled. Mrs. Xiao, you are in a good relationship with the elder sister-in-law, and I mentioned that to Madam Jia, who said that Mrs. Xiao could tag along too, so everyone could see what kind of excellent woman has befriended the elder sister-in-law. Also, Mrs. Xiao, you can meet some noble ladies from the province so you can build some more contacts, since you are a businesswoman, right? First Madam did not like what Ms. Mi Jr. said. She was looking down at Xiaoxian blatantly. She was about to say something, when Yuezheng Ting blinked and smiled as if she were totally innocent. Yeah, Mrs. Xiao, come and join us. Aunt Jia's invitation to you is nothing less than an honor, and you can go and open your horizons a little, right? Or are you afraid of going there? Ting. First Madam snapped at her. Do you have any moralities? Yuezheng Ting flushed. Elder aunt, we are all a family and I am just being honest, saying things straightforwardly. Ms. Mi Jr. sneered too. Elder sister-in-law, why are you scolding Ting? Why is she wrong? Chapter 514. Ms. Mi Jr.'s anger. Ting has grown up next to Madame Yuezheng. If you doubt her morality, you are suspecting Madame Yuezheng instead. First Madam sneered. Stop using Madame Yuezheng's name in front of me. You don't need to care how I treat my guests. Just leave. Before Ms. Mi Jr. could say anything, Auntie Hua walked up with a false smile and dragged away Ms. Mi Jr. fiercely. When Ms. Mi Jr. was gone, Yuezheng Ting left as well. Outside the yard, Ms. Mi Jr. got so angry that she almost collapsed. How dare this countryside bitch get me humiliated like this? Yuezheng Ting was displeased as well. Mom, I really don't like that woman. Her third brother would rather introduce young Master Xie to the lowly couple than to her. That was why Yuezheng Ting never liked Xiaoxian and Xiao Yinduan. Also, Xiaoxian once turned her down and humiliated her in front of the two sisters of the Xie family. Ms. Mi Jr. sneered. What is elder aunt doing with them? How can their family actually befriend such a couple? Wait. Ms. Mi Jr. raised her eyebrows. Your elder aunt has a high taste. No ordinary people would be treated so well by her. Could there be anything special about the couple? Yuezheng Ting sneered. Special about the couple? I don't think so. You don't know your elder aunt well. Ms. Mi Jr. said, she and third brother, as well as the whole first section of the family treats them so specially. There has to be a reason for that. Where on earth are they from? I don't think I would not be able to find out their details. Ms. Mi Jr. had looked into Xiaoxian and Xiao Yunduan's backgrounds, but she gained nothing after looking through the villages in the neighborhood. Now, she suddenly realized that maybe they had lied about where they were actually from. But where were they from anyway? The more Ms. Mi Jr. thought about this, the more she believed that there was a secret behind this whole thing. Xian, don't take what they say in heart. They are not picking on you. They are picking on me. Ignore them. First Madam apologized to Xiaoxian in the room. Xiaoxian nodded and smiled reassuringly. I know that, aunt. Ms. Mi Jr. had been sure that First Madam and her husband would not be back to the mansion, and that Old Master would probably die soon. But unexpectedly, Old Master recovered completely, and the couple went back to the mansion. Ms. Mi Jr. could not stand that anymore. She had started to think that she was already in charge of the mansion. She caused enough trouble when she believed that there were people backing her up. After all, she was very good at causing trouble. First Madam looked relieved. That is good. I knew that you are an understanding person. She lowered her head and asked, will you come with me to the Jia family's banquet in a couple of days? Oh well, don't worry. First Madam laughed. No one will look down at you. You will be with me. And she will be keeping you company as well. She teased. When Yuezheng becomes the recommended man, or reaches even further, you will need to be able to handle such situations. Xiaoxian was not afraid. She was just not very interested. Hearing that, she did not turn down First Madam. She understood that the older woman was being kind to her. Okay. I will join you. Please be sure to teach me whatever I don't know, Aunt. Chapter 5:15, Unfriendly Guest, that is no problem. First Madam smiled brightly. Xian, you are smart. You will understand everything once I tell you. Soon it was time for dinner, and First Madam asked Xiaoxian to join her for the meal. Ms. Jean asked her servant to prepare 2 dishes for them, which made First Madam feel quite satisfied. Her daughter-in-law was very understanding. As long as the first section of the family was doing well, she did not care about how the second section of the family behaved. All Ms. Mi Jr. could do was try to disgust her. But she was not foolish, and that made Ms. Mi feel frustrated. The 3 sons of the second section of the family were in a good relationship, and they respected her as elder aunt. That made Ms. Mi Jr. very uncomfortable. First Madam was in a good mood. She invited Xiaoxian to join her for food in a very friendly tone. After they finished dinner, they talked about going shopping the next day. First Madam planned to pick 2 outstanding dresses and some ornaments for Xiaoxian for the visit at Madame Jia's home, so that no one would dare look down at her. By the time they were almost done chatting, Yuezheng Xiao and Xiao Yunduan came over. Xiao Yunduan was here to pick up Xiaoxian and go back to their guest house. First Madam smiled brightly and asked Xiaoxian to join her for breakfast before going out together the next morning. Then she let her go with Xiao Yunduan. The couple was in a good relationship. First Madam smiled and said that if she had a daughter, she would like to marry her to someone like Xiao Yunduan. He was devoted, low-profiled, and moral without showing any arrogance. Moreover, he cared about his wife too. It was still not very dark, and the afterglow was shining bright in the west. The couple chatted and walked towards the guest house. Xiaoxian told Xiao Yunduan about what they had seen at Fuyu Temple during the day. Xiao Yunduan listened to her carefully, responding to her every now and then with gentleness. He was glad as long as she was happy. Suddenly, they saw Yuezheng Ting waving at them not very far away. Hello, Mrs. Xiao. Xiaoxian's face stiffened. Xiao Yunduan frowned slightly. The second miss of the Yuezheng family doesn't seem to be here without purpose. Xiaoxian chuckled. There is always someone in the family who is troublesome. I am quite curious about what she wants from me. Soon, Yuezheng Ting and Jiang came to them. Greetings, what a coincidence. Xiaoxian said calmly, we are heading back to the guest house. What can I do for you, second miss? No, it is just that I would like to have a small chat with you. Yuezheng Ting smiled. I am not picking on you. I am just a straightforward person. Don't be mad at me. Xiao Yunduan's eyes sank. He knew that she was up to no good. He wondered what she wanted to do to his wife. Xiao Yunduan again told himself that he was going to become successful in his career so that no one would dare look down on his wife. Xiaoxian smiled. It is fine, second Mississippi. I don't mind. I knew you were generous. Yuezheng Ting smiled happily. That's why I would like to be your friend. Where is your home? I will come and visit you someday. Both Xiaoxian and Xiao Yunduan were taken aback. Why was the second miss of the Yuezheng family suddenly curious about where they were from? They were not going to reveal the truth. They did not intend to lead the enemy home. Now they were sure that this second miss was going to bring trouble to them. Chapter 5:16. Maybe they did not want any trouble for themselves. Just a place in the outskirts area, it's the countryside, not good enough for you to visit, 2nd Mississippi. You shouldn't bother to visit the place. The more Xianxia tried to turn her down, the more excited Yuezheng Ting became. She smiled. It is okay. My third brother visits the place often, right? I won't find it too bad either. Mrs. Xiao, just tell me where it is. It is not a secret, is it? Xiaoxian and Xiao Yunduan. This blunt girl just did not know how to talk. Seeing that she could not dodge the question, Xiaoxian said with a forced voice, My home is in Shihe town of Li County. Yuezheng Ting bore that in mind, but did not seem very happy. Shihe town of Li County? But I don't think that was what you told me last time. Xiaoxian blinked her eyes and showed an embarrassed smile. Li County is located in the outskirts of the province. Sorry for not making it clear. It is not a big deal though, is it? Yuezheng Ting had no way to counter her. That seemed to make sense. Anyway, I got it now. I will come and visit you with my mom now. Bye. Yuezheng Ting left with Jiang quickly. Xiao Yunduan asked her. So, she is here to ask us this? Xiao Xian chuckled. Not sure. She can find her answer in Li County. The couple exchanged a look and laughed. Xiao Yunduan did not think there was anything wrong with Xiao Xian misleading the girl. He said, I don't think that Miss Yuezheng is a good-tempered person. She may come and pester us next time if she fails to find us. What about buying a small courtyard in the province next time we are here? They could just live in the courtyard rather than at the mansion, where they might keep running into Yuezheng Ting. Xiao Xian's eyes sparkled. That is a good idea. If we have the courtyard, you can come and wait for the autumn examination ahead of time. We will have more freedom if we have a place of our own. After a few moments, she suggested, What about buying a bigger one, so that our mom and the others could come and live with us too? They can also see how busy the province is. Also, third brother and third sister-in-law are looking forward to coming here as well. Speaking of the funny Xiao Sanlang and Yang Xiaoni, Xiao Yunduan smiled. Their mood was lifted up. Okay, it's a deal. On the other hand, Yuezheng Ting was showing off how she got to know Xiao Xian's address. That should be the correct address. I don't think she will dare to lie to me. It's my fault that I did not pry deeper last time. Ms. Mi Jr. believed her. They would not dare lie to her daughter, would they? Anyways, it was just their home address, not something secretive. She was going to dig deep into this family to see what on earth was so special about them that was worth the attention of the first section of the family. Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian took a walk and went back to the guest house. They washed themselves up and slept soon. Early next morning, Xiao Xian and the First Madam went shopping after breakfast. First Madam wanted Xiao Xian to look pretty at Madame Jia's banquet, thus she took her to high-end garment stores, latest jewelry pavilions and best cosmetic stores for shopping. Xiao Xian could see how expensive those places were the moment she looked up. She wasn't so sure about entering those places. It is fine. Go in, please. First Madam smiled. You are a nobly born lady and you are sure to have more happiness to come to you in the future. You should be dressed accordingly. Chapter 5:17. Foreplanting. Xiao Xian smiled. Aunt, everyone knows that I am a businesswoman from the countryside. These kinds of clothes don't fit my identity. As for prosperity and happiness, I don't need to be impatient. There will always be a chance in the future. First Madam stiffened. Xiao Xian smiled. Aunt, I am not in a hurry. There will be one day when I have glory. First Madam soon understood her meaning. Ms. Mi Jr. was surely going to disclose Xiao Xian's identity and add fuel to the fire. So, if Xiao Xian was too well dressed, the outsiders would definitely know that it was the First Madam who made the preparations for her, which might cause her far more belittling looks, as well as jealousy. They would be envious of her for having managed to suck up to the First Madam. Moreover, they would look down at her behavior and think of her as greedy and opportunist. No one would believe that Xianxia was able to afford any of these by herself. It was my lack of consideration. First Madam smiled. Okay, let's change to another place. But we can surely buy some ornaments. They are never out of fashion. Xianxia nodded. They went shopping for half a day and First Madam took her to a high-end restaurant for lunch. There was steamed pork ribs with betel nut taro and a shredded radish cold dish that made Xiaoxian's eyes shine. She asked the manager if she could give her some betel nut taro and spring watermelon. She was going to take them home for planting. The taros planted at home were small, soft and tasty, but they had a different taste compared to that of betel nut taro. There were many dishes that could be made with betel nut taros. In addition to steaming pork ribs, they could also steam braised meat, roast meat after oiling, steam mashed taro, cut them into strips and fry, cook porridge with them and make pancakes. They were going to taste great. Spring watermelons were very good for cold dishes, fresh, sweet and crispy. With First Madam present there, the manager agreed. He asked his page boys to bring large betel nut taros and good-shaped spring watermelons for her to take home, without charging any teas. He even said happily, "Mrs. Xiao, you have sharp eyes. These have been transported from outside the province, they are not from here." Xiaoxian smiled and thought to herself that she was going to make them grow here. On the wagon, First Madam smiled seeing her cherishing these two plants. "If you like them, next time I will ask my elder son to fetch some more from outside and have them delivered to you." "Thanks, elder aunt, but these are enough." Xiaoxian did not want to conceal it from the First Madam. She answered happily. "Actually, I want them to plant at home, and in a couple of months, they will grow nicely. I can send a few for you to eat." First Madam was startled and answered, "You know less than I do. Didn't you hear what the manager said? These are not from here. Our soil might not be good enough for them. Don't be disappointed later." Xiaoxian was confident. She curved her lips and smiled. "I may be able to plant and grow things that others can't." First Madam. She suddenly thought of what her younger son had said. Chapter 5:18. Accompaniment. Her younger son told her once that Xiao Yunduan and Xiaoxian had planted many things at their home. She suddenly remembered different things, including bergamots, shiitake mushrooms, tremella, watermelon, gastrodia elata, jellies, tomatoes, and various fruits. Xiaoxian didn't seem to have lied to them. "Okay, then I will be waiting for your fruits. Do remember to give me some." First Madam smiled. Xiaoxian chuckled and nodded. "Of course." In the afternoon, Xiaoxian asked First Madam to take her for a visit to the farming market, where she bought quite a lot of things. She picked up several different kinds of green vegetables and cabbage seeds. There was also a variety of long beans with white skin and black beans inside, and a kind of beans that only had beans in the pods to eat. These beans had purple flower spots and tasted glutinous. Her purchase list also included lotus beans, as well as chayote, gourd melon, a light yellow pepper shaped like a lantern called habanero-type pepper, and many more. There was a lot to harvest, and Xiaoxian was really happy about it. First Madam asked her with interest, "If you are so good at planting things, your brother Hong knows a lot of people across the country, so he can gather seeds for you periodically. If you can make these plants grow successfully, I will be able to taste different things too." Xiaoxian smiled. "Honestly, aunt, that is exactly what I have been thinking. I have asked my third brother to look for them for me." First Madam laughed. "That is fantastic." The two of them looked at each other in a good mood. The following day, they were supposed to buy the laborers. Xiao Yunduan and Yuezheng Xiao came along for this errand. First Madam was one of the most promising leading madams in the province, and was well respected. But she had been almost forgotten after she withdrew from the society to take care of the old master. Now that she was back, the moment she returned to the mansion, she was able to take control of the whole mansion. Only a few days had passed, and everyone in the upper class of the society knew about this development instantly. Agencies were engaged in dealing with noble ladies, so they got the news very fast. No one would dare to play any tricks if someone went to buy the laborers with First Madam. They did not try to lie to Xiaoxian and Xiao Yunduan, and introduced the most suitable ones to them. Otherwise, people who just gained some wealth but had no idea about the market like Xiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan, the agents would definitely try to fool them. They would quote high prices and sell them terrible labors. Even if Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian were clever, they could be tricked in this aspect since it was new to them. But now that would not happen. Xiao Xian planned to buy a few dozen people to reside at the Zhang village to sort out the tea and the garden of the creeping figs. The agent happened to have 3 families of farmers who had arrived from another town. She introduced them to Xiao Xian passionately. They are down-to-earth people who are good at farming and diligent too. They are from 3 different places and can be supervised easily. Xiao Xian believed that with First Madam around, the agent would not play tricks on them. Since the agent said so, she decided to inquire more about them. She smiled. Why so? The agent laughed and started to explain to Xiao Xian. Chapter 519, Rare. Mrs. Xiao, you are new to this. If 2 families are acquaintances and move to a new place, they would stick together and isolate the third. If 3 families are acquaintances, the 3 families would become one and isolate the manager. So, the best solution is that they shouldn't know each other. I am just saying that out of precaution. It doesn't necessarily have to be like this. What we need to do is to be careful. That made Xiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan less confused. That is a valid point. Xiao Xian smiled. You're right. We better be careful. But for what you said, we would not have thought about this before. Xiao Xian thanked her constantly. You are welcome, Mrs. Xiao. The agent cheered inwardly. She could not help but develop a good feeling towards the couple. She had been in this business for more than 30 years, she was very experienced, and could see through the world easily. Generally speaking, people who became rich from ordinary or poor families had the biggest self-esteem and inferiority complex. They just did not listen to other people's suggestions, and always felt that others were laughing at them in their hearts. They would not ask for suggestions or be grateful like the woman in front of her. But Xiao Xian was frank and natural, which was a rare thing. She was confident and seemed to have a lot of abilities that would definitely take them ahead in life. So, the agent definitely wanted to befriend her. Finally, they bought 18 laborers as well as 6 maids. First Madam offered a temporary place for these people at the private mansion. Xiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan thanked her for the generosity. The 3 households were called Lin Jin, Xiao Shisan and Dongda, whilst the 6 maids were called Chunyu, Chuanfin, Damon, Xiaoman, Lixia and Liqiu. All of those were solar terms for easy remembrance. First Madam laughed at the logic behind the naming process. When the laborers were bought, Xiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan's mission was completed. After Madame Jia's banquet the next day, they would head home. It was a busy season for the farmer's family and they had no time to waste. They had money so they could hire laborers for help, thus not being in such a hurry as the others and choosing to stay at home. Xiao Yunduan kept Xiao Xian company for shopping this afternoon. First Madam was very understanding. She could not keep her to her side all the time, especially when she had not spent some quality time with her own husband. The following day, Ms. Mi Jr. hurriedly ate breakfast and came to the First Madam's residence with Yuezheng Ting, fearing that Xiao Xian would not show up for the banquet. The daughter and the girl were very well dressed in brocade garments and wearing a lot of shining jewelry. We will keep each other company, so I have brought Ting along to accompany Mrs. Xiao. Oh, Mrs. Xiao is ready as well? Ms. Mi Jr. sounded very relaxed. She was looking forward to seeing the show. She smiled even deeper when she saw Xiao Xian. First Madam smiled briefly. Xian is ready, thanks for your concern. Ms. Mi Jr. chuckled. Elder sister-in-law, your guest is mine as well. Yuezheng Ting threw a glance at Xiao Xian. She was dressed in a pale lotus-colored satin-faced placket, ivory white stand-up collar jacket, and a beige bamboo leaf-patterned silk-faced pleated skirt. Chapter 520. Sidekick. Apart from a crystal-clear jasper hairpin studded with pearls the size of a finger, there were a few silver hairpins and silk flowers on the bun, completely different from how Yuezheng Ting and her mother were dressed. Elder Aunt, Why didn't you buy some new dresses for Mrs. Xiao? She looks so shabby. Ms. Mi Jr. chuckled and added, Yeah, elder sister-in-law, if you didn't have time to arrange this small thing, you could have left it to me. I have many new clothes that aren't worn yet, which are still better than what she is wearing now. I can get someone to fetch them for Mrs. Xiao. This outfit on her looks very improper. People might think that you are looking down at your guest. Xiao Xian threw a strange look at Ms. Mi Jr., but said with a smile, Second Madame Yuezheng, I don't really get it. I am here as a guest, and I am wearing my own dress. Why is it related to Aunt? I am not part of the Yuezheng family. Was she trying to make her into a laughingstock? Sorry, that would not work. We are from the countryside, and this is how we are dressed. Aunt gave a jade hairpin to me, but I still think it is too much. I am sure that Madame Jia knows where I am from, and if she looks down at me, she should not have sent me the invitation. Isn't that right? Xiao Xian heard from the first madam that Madame Jia was Ms. Mi Jr.'s good friend. So, Ms. Mi Jr. should have said a lot of things to Madame Jia who would help Ms. Mi Jr. in every aspect. Therefore, Ms. Mi Jr. must have told Madame Jia everything about her. If Xiao Xian was dressed fitting her status, then she could counter anyone who laughed at her, and First Madam would help her as well. But if she was dressed above her status, she might become a laughingstock. Ms. Mi Jr. felt somehow uncomfortable, as if her secret had been seen through, so she felt annoyed due to shame. Madame Jia doesn't look down at you. But you are the guest I bring to the banquet, so you can always be dressed beautifully. Yuezheng Ting said straightforwardly, Mrs. Xiao, my mom is being kind-hearted. After all, you barely will get a chance to attend any banquet in the future, so you should cherish this occasion. First Madam frowned and threw Yuezheng Ting a displeased look. It seemed that this niece of hers had been completely ruined by her mother. This sister-in-law had ruined 2 of her daughters. How excellent she had been at raising a child. No need. Xiao Xian ignored her provocation and showed a brief smile. I am fine like this. Just save your breath. First Madam said coldly, Xian is the guest and she should have the final say. I like how she is dressed. Very proper. Ms. Mi Jr. sneered. Okay then, you have the say, elder sister-in-law. She sized up Xiao Xian secretly, thinking that Xiao Xian must be feeling unconvinced. She was a countryside person and she never had the qualification to attend any noble banquets in the province. It was such a rare opportunity. She would definitely have liked to dress up well and show up in glory. Every woman loved beautiful clothes and jewelry. Anyway, Ms. Mi Jr. snorted coldly. She believed that Xiao Xian would hate the elder sister-in-law for what she got now. It was a fun thing to watch. Chapter 521. Lipsticks. The 4 of them walked out together, accompanied by young and old maids, filling up 2 wagons. Many guests had already arrived by the time they reached the Jia family. First Madam had been to many banquets and feasts since she returned to the mansion during the new year, but she had not visited this place. It was also her first since her return. Madame Jia paid a great deal of attention to her arrival, especially coming to the door to greet them. They were all in a happy mood. First Madam introduced Xiao Xian formally to Madame Jia and the others. Xian and I hit it off instantly, and we have become good friends. I invited her to my mansion as a guest. Since you sent the invitation to me, I brought her along with me. She doesn't know much about the rules in the families in the province, so you should not laugh at her. Everyone smiled and said that they would not. Soon the guests settled down, and it was very lively in the hall. Young ladies and madams were gathered together and taking a walk in the garden. The ladies from the Jia family interacted with Xiao Xian with a smile, for the sake of First Madam. First Madam asked she to take good care of Xiao Xian, but threw her a worried look. In return, Xiao Xian smiled and nodded, indicating to her to remain assured. She was not being polite. She really did not need any help. She could see through every corner of the whole mansion by just touching one leaf. Her scope of sight was far beyond the mansion too. Nothing could escape her observation. If she were still set up after this, then she would just call herself unlucky. Those ladies and madams were all friends, or acquaintances, or had at least heard about each other. They accidentally or intentionally ignored Xianxia. Xianxia never had the intention to make herself a part of their lives. She did not care. She just went for a stroll among those people who were strangers. As she was about to take a seat in the pavilion, Xianxia heard them talking about lipsticks, which drew her attention. Yuezheng Ting became the center of attention of all the ladies and madams. Everyone seemed very earnest. Ting, the lipsticks are part of your family stores, and you are always the first one to get the newest product. My nanny can't even manage to get one until a few days later, and has only managed to buy only 2 of them till now. Yeah, it is so difficult to buy. I heard that there will be some new colors like peach and apricot. Is that true? Can you reserve 2 for me in each color? I want 2 as well, or even 1 is enough. Me too. My cousins in Jianzhou love them, and they keep asking me to buy some. Ting, why not tell third brother that he can just sell the products to us, not to others? We can pay the same as others will. In fact, I can buy everything from his store. That is a wonderful idea. Me too. Xianxia was dumbfounded, and she could not help but smile. She felt very proud. Lipsticks were definitely a profitable venture. When she had enough labor and beeswax, she would make some more. She would also produce more colors to meet the market's demand. Chapter 522. Limited version. Yuezheng Ting felt both furious and proud, seeing the jealous eyes. The outsiders might think that her third brother's business was equivalent to hers and that she could make these decisions, but the truth was not like that at all. Her third brother did not want to give many to her, though the products cost so little. He did not share any extra ones ever. She and her mother just could not find out where he got the products from. She enjoyed being asked for a favor, but she could not do anything about the requests. Yuezheng Ting forced a smile. That is my third brother's business. He is very conservative and only sells them at the store, not in private. Lipsticks are rare and the amount is limited, and he needs the lipsticks to bring in more business for his store's other products. I can't persuade him when it comes to business. They all sighed and got very disappointed. It was not the first time for them to entrust Yuezheng Ting to do this, so they weren't too surprised or disappointed. They just spoke of it when the topic was mentioned again. What if it was possible this time? Yuezheng Ting saw Xianxia, who was leaning against the banister, and felt a bit annoyed, as if she had been humiliated in front of Xianxia, who may be laughing in her heart at this moment. She grabbed Xianxia and smiled at them. You may not know this, but Mrs. Xiao's husband and my third brother are in a good relationship. My third brother even has received them home as guests. Uncle and aunt treat them so well. Maybe you can beg Mrs. Xiao to talk with my third brother about this. Xianxia. She felt that this lady had hit the target unintentionally. If she told him about it, he would definitely agree. The ladies seemed to have heard a huge joke. I am sure she doesn't even know what lipsticks are. Yeah, she definitely can't afford them. Ting, you are so funny. I think Ting might have her reason to say so. Maybe it is possible. What about having a try? I think so too. I really want new lipsticks. Me too. They all turned to Xianxia with a teasing smile. Mrs. Xiao, can you speak with young Master Yuezheng about selling some lipsticks to us? We will pay according to the market price. We can share some commission fees with you for it. What about helping us? They all looked at Xianxia. Xianxia smiled. That won't work. Young Master Yuezheng has his own rules in business. If he breaks the rules, his reputation would be ruined. You can hire people to stand in the queue and you can buy them. But I do have a piece of news that I can reveal to you. I heard that young Master Yuezheng is going to present a limited version of lipsticks, which is a rare thing. 10 sets at most. If you need them to appear again, you may have to wait for a decade. They were all startled. Limited version? What is a limited version? It is very rare. That is great. I definitely want one. Chapter 523. Desire, me too. So, only 10 sets of the limited version? That is so less. Yeah, it must be so difficult to buy one set. But why limited? Mrs. Xiao, can you tell us more? Yuezheng Ting's face changed. She intended to bring Xiao Xian out to draw others' attention so they could ignore her and sneer at Xiao Xian instead, rather than let her be in the spotlight. But she attracted everyone's attention for real. That was not the plan. Also, Yuezheng Ting did not believe what Xiao Xian said. What limited version? Why only 10 sets? She was an outsider, how could she know so much? Mrs. Xiao is joking with us. Yuezheng Ting glanced at Xiao Xian and smiled. Stop it, Mrs. Xiao, you can't joke about business. Xiao Xian was not going to follow Yuezheng Ting's plan. She needed to promote the limited version. The more she promoted it, the more it would be discussed, and there would be more people who would want to buy it. The price would be raised, and the quality would look good as well. I am not joking. Xiao Xian pretended to be confused, chuckling. Second miss, that is what young Master Yuezheng said to me. This is not a joke. Yuezheng Ting was annoyed. Even if it is real, you can't spread the secret without third brother's permission. That is business. It can be either big or small. You can't just spread rumors. The girls were all startled, without any idea what to say. They glanced at Yuezheng Ting indifferently. Her reaction was way over the top. Who did she think they were that they needed to be guarded against? Xiao Xian blinked and showed a look of innocence. Second miss, you don't understand. Products should be promoted, that's how they sell well. I can promise that young Master Yuezheng did not ask me to keep it a secret. Yuezheng Ting sneered furiously. I don't even know about this, but you do? What can you promise yourself with? If you don't believe me, you can ask young Master Yuezheng about this. He said that not everyone will be able to afford the limited version. It is high-end, first class and has only 10 sets, very special and rare. He is going to promote it so everyone will know about it. Those who can't afford it would be jealous of those who can afford that. Why would he want to keep it a secret? Also, who does he think that he will sell the limited version to if he keeps it as a secret? It would cost 3,000 or 4,000 liang for one limited version of lipsticks, as I heard. She had made the price higher, so that when people learned the real price, they would find it much easier to accept it and even feel that they had taken some advantage of it. What? 3,000 to 4,000 liang? Oh my, did I hear it wrong? Mrs. Xiao, you must have heard it wrong. Seeing Yuezheng Ting obviously looking displeased, they did not dare to ask anything more, especially since Yuezheng Ting kept stopping Xiao Xian from sharing more details. But now everyone was very curious about the price. They needed to know it clearly so that they could satisfy their need to know. Yuezheng Ting herself was surprised as well. She was about to deny it when she realized that Xiao Xian would not be stupid enough to make such an exaggerated joke, thus stopping herself. Chapter 524. Yuezheng Ting's angered Xiao Xian explained with a smile. I am not mistaken. Please, listen to my explanation. She then told everyone about how the limited version worked. Everyone heard that the raw materials of this limited edition lipstick were carefully selected, and the essential oils extracted from flowers would also be added, and the production process was far more refined. Also, the lipstick tube was not only exquisite in materials, but also was inlaid with gold. Moreover, it was designed by a famous artist, all of which made their eyes brighten. No wonder it is so expensive. Yeah, the tube is costly too. There are essential oils in it. That is very rare too. 12 beauty series, I really want a set so much. Me too. But I can't afford it. My mom won't buy one for me. I would like to have one for my dowry. I wonder if my parents would allow. Oh, but when will it be launched in the market? I can at least take a look at it. Yes, me too. Everyone started to talk about it and expectantly turned to Xiao Xian. Yuezheng Ting clenched her teeth and was furious inside her heart. Ms. Xiao would not know everything, right? But Xiao Xian did know because Yuezheng Xiao was going to give her the first batch of tubes next month for this limited version. So, a month after that, she would be able to finish making them. 10 sets in total, with 5 sold separately, and the other 5 sets sold with 3 at one stage. Those who were willing to buy the new set next season could make reservations. So she smiled and answered, "In a couple of months, rather within 2 months, it should be in the market. Then, you can all go and have a look at it." "That's great. We will definitely be there, and we are going to buy 2 ordinary ones too." "Me too. Those are wonderful things for me to take a look at. We may not be able to see them next time." "Yeah." The group was chit-chatting, and people could not help but ask Xianxia if she could tell young Master Yuezheng to make some lipsticks that were not so expensive, but the quantity was limited. It didn't matter if the price was higher than the normal, but the workmanship should also be exquisite, and it was best to add some essential oils as well. Xianxia, low-class limited version? That could work, but not right now. They needed to first sell the limited version of high quality, and maybe then, they could make something else. The luxurious version had not been launched in the market, and hence, the low-class limited version should not appear so soon. Well, young Master Yuezheng is in this business. You can all send your suggestions to the manager and the sales boys at the store. They would surely pass them on to young Master Yuezheng. They all laughed. "Okay, that sounds right. I will do that." "I want a limited version as well, but not something that costs me 3,000 or 4,000 liang, a few hundred will do." They all nodded in agreement. Xianxia smiled and looked earnestly at them. They were all money to her. Seeing Xianxia getting so popular, Yuezheng Ting got so angry that she almost broke her teeth. Ms. Qiao was behaving way over the top. She was just a countryside woman who should know nothing. But she kept promoting her third brother. She was going to tell the third brother about this so that he could reprimand her. Yuezheng Ting felt so annoyed and then whispered an idea into Jiang's ears. Chapter 525. Bad Intention. Jiang nodded and left in a hurry. Soon a maid came to serve Xianxia the tea, and before she was able to pass it on, she went to accept the tray with a smile and said, "Thanks for bringing it to me, one will take it over from here." The maid was startled and the tray was in Zai's hands smoothly. She threw a subconscious look at Yuezheng Ting, forced a smile and left it. That made Yuezheng Ting feel even more annoyed. It was still a bit cold at this time of the year, and they had been out for a long while. Soon it was time for lunch, and the 2 ladies of the Jia family made an announcement. Everyone got up and went back to the hall. After lunch, they watched the play and they would be going home after that. Seeing Xianxia coming back safe and sound, First Madam let out a sigh of relief, whispering to Xianxia holding her hands. "Everything all right?" Xianxia smiled and said, "Don't worry, everything is fine. If something happens, do tell me about it. Don't put yourself in a distressing situation." Xianxia felt her heart turning warm. "One won't. She was with me. You can ask her." She chuckled. "First Madam, Mrs. Xiao was great. I will tell you what happened. You will admire her too after that." Xianxia chuckled. She was just promoting her own lipsticks. That did make her feel good. "That is wonderful. I can't wait to go back and hear about it." First Madam looked very curious. Soon the banquet started, and Madame Jia asked them to be seated at the table. There were 2 tables in total, with 8 people at each. The elderly madams were in the main hall whilst the younger ones were in the wing hall. Xianxia came in with Yuezheng Ting, but she did not feel like sitting with her. She was worried that the girl was up to something. Had it not been for she stopping it, the tea would have spilled all over her, back at the pavilion. So, Xianxia kept herself away from Yuezheng Ting. But she was still framed, eventually. The maid serving the soup spilled it on Lady Min, who was seated next to Xianxia. She immediately kneeled down and begged for forgiveness, saying that it was Xianxia who hit her so she spilled the soup. Lady Min snapped at Xianxia. "You know how much my dress costs? 80 liang. Can you afford it? It is made from a new material and you ruined it." Everyone looked at each other, uttering no sound. After all, they did not care since they were not involved. No one wanted trouble for themselves. Unless it was Xiaoxian's friends who would defend her. But Xiaoxian had no friend and Lady Min was apparently a more promising contact to stick to for future use. Therefore, they had picked their favored side. Those who were Yuezheng Ting's good friends were very happy to see how the show went. She was so angry. Lady Min, I saw that Mrs. Xiao, she. Xianxia stopped her and turned to Lady Min. You are sure it was me? Lady Min sneered. The maid won't make a mistake, would she? Xianxia smiled. Yeah, maids at the Jia family are well trained. So, I don't think that they would make a mistake. The two ladies of the Jia family suddenly felt embarrassed. Many ladies turned to them curiously as well. The maid should admit the fault even if it was not her. After all, she was a maid. So, either she was looking down at Xianxia, or just trying to get herself out of the trouble. A maid who should not blame guests so casually. Chapter 526. Money and clothes. It meant that she must have been assigned to do this, and it must have been approved of by the ladies of the Jia family. Else a maid would not dare do something like that. Finally, it pointed to just one thing: the Jia family wasn't a very nice family. Xianxia was the first-time guest. Why should the Jia family cause her trouble? Also, if a maid dares to do this, it was because her mistress wasn't nice. Totally immoral and uneducated. The two ladies of the Jia family glanced at Yuezheng Ting and regretted it. It was Yuezheng Ting who had begged them and promised them something so they could arrange Xianxia to sit next to Lady Min, who was narrow-minded and cared about her appearance. She wanted to set up Xianxia. She did manage to set up Xianxia, but Xianxia got the Jia family involved in this as well. Xianxia added, Since you are sure that it was me who did this, then Lady Min, I am sorry and I can pay you 100 liang for this dress, all right? Lady Min was startled and snorted. Pay me then. She could not help but burst with joy. 100 liang. She only had a monthly pocket money of 3 liang, and she barely had any extra money to spend. This amount was going to keep her rich for a long while. But Xianxia added politely, Then my 100 liang should be able to buy out this dress, right? Lady Min should never be allowed to have this dress any longer, no? Too bad that it can't be washed by you. I can take it home and wash it myself. Could you please give me the dress? Ha ha. Most young ladies and madams laughed, as they turned to Xianxia disdainfully. She was indeed a countryside woman who even wanted a dress someone else had worn before. How humiliating! Yuezheng Ting laughed too. She was glad to see the situation develop like this. If she recounted the story to the whole mansion, everyone was going to laugh at her. Her elder aunt had considered this kind of girl as someone important. Wasn't she afraid of getting humiliated? Lady Min snorted proudly. Sure, pay me and the dress is yours. Take it as you want. Keep Lady Min company to get changed, and remember to give me the dress when she is done. Xianxia said and handed over 100 liang to Shi, saying calmly, Then, I can ask aunt who makes this dress so expensive and worth so much money, so I can also buy 2 sets of garments to take them home for my sister-in-law. It was very quiet in the hall. Everyone was startled. Lady Min suddenly realized what was happening. She flushed as she turned to Xianxia, looking furious. Xianxia was still composed and looked at her calmly. She spent 100 liang buying the dress and she had all the rights to do anything she wanted with it. Everyone knew that Lady Min's dress was not worth 100 liang, or even 80 liang as she claimed. It would be priced at most at 8 liang. She was just bullying Xianxia for being a countryside girl who knew nothing. She wanted to threaten and frighten Xianxia so she could beg for forgiveness. Everyone had been amused to see Xianxia offering 100 liang to purchase the dress. Chapter 527. Trap. It turned out that the joke was on them. As long as Xianxia showed the dress to the first madam and told her that the dress was worth 80 liang and that she paid 100 liang for it, Lady Min would become famous for being greedy in the upper-class circle of the province. Moreover, the Min family would turn into a laughingstock. Lady Min was yet to be married, and no good family would want to have such a greedy and immoral person as their daughter-in-law. Everyone could not help but feel hair standing on the back. They could not help but feel fearful towards Xianxia. They started to believe that Mrs. Xiao was not a stupid or ignorant countryside woman, and reminded themselves to stay modest rather than judging people by their looks, or belittling people. They might get themselves into trouble by doing so. Look at Lady Min, who had set a perfect example for them. She had dug a trap for herself to jump in. How horrible! Lady Nyan was so furious, but she could not do anything else except to stutter. I'm not selling this dress anymore. My bad luck. Okay, I don't want your compensation, not anymore. That is not good. I never owe people anything, especially if such a dress is worth 80 liang. I will feel so bad. You are open-minded, but I can't take advantage of you. If you don't want to sell it to me, one will have to turn to the seniors to help me with the persuasion. So, please reconsider if you are selling it or not. Go and see if Aunt can join us for a while. I am sorry to trouble her. Yes, Mrs. Xiao. She got so excited that she was about to hurry away. Lady Nyan panicked. No, not now. Xiao Xian put on an even more sincere look. She has to go there, you know. I never take advantage of people, especially because this dress is so expensive. Lady Nyan shivered out of anger, turning to look at Yuezheng Ting. She could tell clearly that Yuezheng Ting disliked Xiao Xian. But Yuezheng Ting had been shocked by what Xiao Xian did, and her mind was in a mess. What was going on? She had never expected that Xiao Xian would dare to set up Lady Min. With one sentence, Lady Min was totally exposed. She was someone who bullied the weak, not someone who stood up to help others in trouble. Never. Therefore, she moved away, pretending as if she had never seen Lady Min's pleading eyes. Lady Min flushed and turned pale. She almost burst into tears. Her maid was dumbfounded too. She threw herself onto the ground and said in a shivering voice, "It was me. It was me who bumped into Mrs. Xiao's arm, so the soup was over Lady Min. It was my fault, please, forgive me." But that was not what the maid from the Jia family said. That girl insisted that it was me. So, which of you lied? It is so funny. Why lie about such a small thing? Everyone present, honestly, First Madam had spotted someone distinguished. No wonder First Madam had always been outstanding in her abilities. The two ladies from the Jia family turned uncomfortable as well. One of them kept blaming Xiao Xian for being so nosy to have pointed them out, dragging them down. But they should have realized that they were not being polite towards Xiao Xian when they tried to set her up. Chapter 528. Satisfied in that case, Xiao Xian did not care about their reputation either. Reputation was not given, but earned. When someone intentionally set up people, they deserve to be humiliated when countered back. If Xiao Xian saved the ladies of the Jia family, would they be grateful to her? No, they would just feel lucky that Xiao Xian never thought of them. Else, they might assume that Xiao Xian did not dare offend them. Xiao Xian did it only because she knew, above all, that the First Madam did not like the Jia family, who was a good friend with Ms. Mi Jr. Hence, she did not need to care about what First Madam would think about it. It is our fault. Ju totally misbehaved. The ladies of the Jia family reacted faster than Lady Min. They expressed apologies directly and ordered someone to get Ju in to make apologies. Ju turned totally pale and dumbfounded. But it was so normal that the maid became the scapegoat for her mistress. There was nothing she could do except to admit her mistake. She and Lady Min's maid admitted the mistake together. They bumped into Xiao Xian but did not dare to admit that in panic, thus accusing Mrs. Xiao of the wrongdoings. They received the mistress's punishment. Lady Min had not yet given an open punishment, but Ju was fined 2 months' salaries. They kept apologizing to Xiao Xian constantly. Xiao Xian had reached her purpose, thus she smiled, accepting the apology. Some ladies started to feel that Lady Min and the Jia family were annoying. Luckily Mrs. Xiao was smart, so she revealed the conspiracy, otherwise she would have been totally misjudged. What was the Jia family doing? Anyone at the door was a guest who should be received well. Lady Min was even worse. Was she so in need of money that she was resorting to blackmailing? The two maids admitted the mistake, but everyone was aware that they were simply scapegoats for their mistresses, covering them up so they would not be exposed. Lady Min was completely embarrassed, so she left, saying that she did not feel well. The two ladies of the Jia family could not leave, but pretended as if they were innocent and continued to receive guests. But no one was interested in eating any longer. They pretended as if they were full and left as well. Same for Qiao Xian. They were just about to walk to the main hall when Yuezheng Ting came in front of Qiao Xian and faced her. She sneered. Happy now? The banquet has been ruined by you? Why do you say that? I didn't spill the soup and it was not me who caused the trouble either. Why are you accusing me then? How about saying that out loud so we can talk about this in front of everyone? Yuezheng Ting got so angry that she was stuck speechless. She snorted and looked deeply into her eyes. I never expected that you are so clever and full of tricks. I have misjudged you. Qiao Xian thought to herself and believed that she was still being misunderstood by her. Yuezheng Ting did not know that she was rich. Nor did she know that she was also an officer's daughter. She also did not know that she was the one who produced the lipsticks. Most importantly, she did not know that her elder uncle's disease was cured by Qiao Xian. If she knew all of these, she would definitely pass out. I don't know you well, second miss, and it is very normal that you don't know me. Yuezheng Ting snorted and left angrily. She was dumbfounded. But she was totally convinced by Mrs. Shad's conduct. Chapter 529. Reasonable. She thought to herself that no wonder First Madam liked this girl. She was very different from the others. What happened at the hall had reached the other side of the mansion by this point. Lady Nian's mother had to leave with her, when she insisted. First Madam took hold of Qiao Xian's hands, asking concernedly, Xian, are you all right? First Madam asked in front of everyone present rather than secretively. A few ladies who had tried to defend Lady Min against Qiao Xian were stuck speechless. Qiao Xian felt her heart turning warm. She chuckled and shook her head. Thanks, and I am well. Also, we have sorted everything out. Ms. Mi Jr. sneered. There is a saying, you should forgive when you _be forgiven. Xian, your behavior was way over the top. What was the point in doing all this? What are you talking about? First Madam threw her a sidelong glance. Xian said that they have sorted things through. Sure, we need to be reasonable but not get others wrongfully accused of something as well. When First Madam was not around, Ms. Mi Jr. was the face of the Yuezheng family in society. So, when she was hailed into the air, she felt very arrogant. Gradually, she even started to believe that First Madam was never going to return to the mansion, thus behaving even more arrogantly. Now when she was lectured by First Madam in front of everyone, she felt both ashamed and annoyed. She said sarcastically, Madam Jia is a good friend of our family, so she doesn't mind. But no one else would like to befriend such a girl who just causes trouble at a banquet. Why couldn't they just deal with the matter privately, rather than cause a scene in public? We don't belong to the same category. That was the basic rule in the upper-class circle. Second, Madame Yuezheng. Qiao Xian said, if someone's maids wrongfully accuse the guest, I would not want to mingle with such a family either. I was lucky today to clear my name. If I failed to gain justice, I would have been blamed and Aunt would have been humiliated as well. That would make me feel very guilty. Are you countering me? Ms. Mi Jr. snapped at her. Sister-in-law. First Madam said coldly, Xian is talking sense. As per you, you can accuse her of something but she can't defend herself? Anyways, whatever else you have to say, tell me when we reach back home. It was very quiet in the hall. First Madam simply could not stand this sister-in-law of hers. During the past few years, this sister-in-law kept saying bad things about First Madam and her family, which had reached First Madam's ears too. But the first section of the family only focused upon old master's disease, especially First Madam, who never cared about such useless gossip. But things were different now. She could not stand it when Ms. Ni Jr. scolded the junior girl she had personally recommended. Elder sister-in-law, are you lecturing me for someone outside the family? I am talking sense with you. You can defend yourself if I am wrong. 1 a.m. not putting any pressure on you or stopping you from defending yourself. Ms. Mi Jr. could not defend herself. After all, The fault was that of Lady Min and the maids of the Jia family. If Xianxia had not pointed it out, it would just be a vague situation that could be solved casually. Chapter 530. Abilities. Unfortunately, the method in which she tried to cause trouble failed completely. Ms. Mi Jr. was jealous that Xianxia escaped and hence tried to lecture her as a senior. But Xianxia did allow that to happen, and she was sheltered by the first madam, so Ms. Mi Jr. kept running into bad luck. Madame Jia felt bitterness filling up her heart seeing Ms. Mi Jr. getting humiliated. She smiled and stepped forward. It was the maid's fault, and also my fault for not teaching them well. Mrs. Xiao is innocent, and Ms. Mi Jr. was just being kind. It is my fault totally for causing this small problem. Oh yes, the play is on, let's go and watch the play. The other ladies let out a sigh of relief and nodded with a smile. First Madam threw a small look at Ms. Mi Jr. and said to Xianxia softly, "How about watching the play? If you want to leave for home, we can do that as well." First Madam had understood clearly what real affection was. Apart from some close friends and relatives, the others had turned to the second section of the family when they found that the first section of the family wasn't doing well. She had not thought about this before, but now she realized that this attitude made her feel emotional. Even if she was not friendly to them, so what? They had to suck up to her anyway. She was capable enough to be sucked up to. She was the first madam of the Yuezheng family, and they needed to be polite to her, not vice versa. Xianxia shook her head with a smile. "It is okay, Aunt, let's watch the play. She did not do anything wrong. Why should she leave now? If they left now, Ms. Mi Jr. might take the chance and cause trouble." First Madam smiled. "Okay, just tell me when you feel like leaving." No one dared to look down at Xianxia any longer and served her carefully. No one dared to offend someone who was so strong, especially in a circle like this. Xianxia was strong herself, and she was under the protection of the First Madam, so no one would dare to cause any trouble to her. Ms. Mi Jr. and Yuezheng Ting looked as if they were fine, but they felt so annoyed inwardly. They brought Xianxia here because they wanted to humiliate her in public so that First Madam could be humiliated too. But things turned out to be very different. On the contrary, Ms. Mi Jr. was lectured by the First Madam, which changed her image in front of the other madams and young ladies. Everyone understood who was the hostess of the Yuezheng family, and that the second madam simply had no sway in the mansion. It was a peaceful and lovely time watching the play in the afternoon. When the First Madam left with Xianxia, Ms. Mi Jr. and Yuezheng Ting refused to leave. They wanted to have a few words with the madam of the Jia family. First Madam did not care and left with Xianxia first. On the wagon, she could not wait and asked Xianxia about what happened in detail. She laughed. "First Madam, let me tell you the story." She added a lot of details and moves as she recounted the incident, amusing First Madam. Good. That was exactly what you should do." First Madam took Xianxia's hand and smiled. "I'll treat you as my daughter, and if anyone dares to offend my daughter, they will have to think about the consequences." Xianxia felt warmth in her heart and chuckled. "Thanks, Aunt." First Madam laughed and held her hand tightly. "No need to thank me." Chapter 531. Limited version. Xianxia and Xiao Yunduan were going back the day after tomorrow, so First Madam asked Yuezheng Xiao to get the wagon ready to drive them back, as well as the laborers whom they had bought. She had the presents ready too, such as the lotus roots and water chestnuts. Yuezheng Xiao nodded with a smile and asked his servants to do the preparations. He gave one batch of plain version of lipsticks boxes to Xianxia, and he would deliver the limited version to her personally when they were ready. While they were talking, Xianxia and Xiao Yunduan understood that after 2 weeks, Yuezheng was going to head northwest with goods. So, they were all busy at the Yuezheng mansion these days. They prepared and counted the goods, prepared the convoy, and finally determined the treasurers and guards to follow. They checked and visited their families to see if everything was normal, and relocated their families, etc. These things were cumbersome and there were too many matters to deal with. Though they were not difficult, It could take a lot of time to straighten things out. As they were chatting, the chief manager and the deputy manager came over to pass on the message. The couple decided to leave, but Yuezheng smiled. They must be talking about the tea business. You should stay because we may need your help with it. Yuezheng nodded with a smile too. True. The two managers were a little surprised, but they understood that these were the new suppliers for tea, thus saying nothing. But what they did not know was that Xianxia and Yunduan were not ordinary suppliers. They were going to supply them with the most cherished tea and bring many profits to the tea business of the Yuezheng family. The tea business comprised more than 1/3 of the entire business of the family. The two managers wanted to check how much tea leaves they should take along to the northwest. They had a lot with them, but the leaves turned rotten halfway. The Yuezheng family always stuck to reputation, and they would not process the rotten ones and pretend that they were new. So they had to cast them aside. Therefore, the actual profits were very less with time and energy as well as other costs counted. They needed to earn 60% or more, so that people could be motivated to work harder. 20% of the profits could be earned even by small businesses. After all, merchants were far away from their relatives' hometown and traveled 2,000 to 3,000 miles or even farther. One could imagine how hard it was. All kinds of accidents and emergencies would occur on the way, so if they could not earn much, who would want to join them? The two managers meant that the weather wasn't good and there was a lot of rain, so the tea leaves would not be easily preserved. They suggested cutting the volume down so the goods would not be affected by the weather. If the rain kept pouring down, the goods would be destroyed again. It would take a few months for the round trip to be completed. If the profits could not be earned, things would look bad. Yuezheng was silent. The tea of the Yuezheng family was supposed to be sold to the nomadic tribes outside the pass. What the nomadic tribes lacked most were tea and salt. Chapter 532. Tea brick salt was under the control of the imperial court, and the Yuezheng family could not get their hand in. But tea had been their business for many years, and the Yuezheng family started with such a business. If they took smaller amounts, the tribes might get disappointed, and the other business families might take that chance and sneak in, replacing them as the main supplier. If they were replaced, not only tea leaves, but other goods might not sell easily. As long as they had satisfying tea leaves, the other goods could be sold at the same time. If the amount of tea leaves wasn't enough, then they would need to find other new clients and turn to other aspects. That was not what Yuezheng was willing to do. They were mainly a tea leaves business family, and they were experienced in it. Also, Xiaoxian and Xiaoyun's tea farms would have a small amount of goods in early autumn this year, but next year's supply would be greatly increased. After 2 or 3 years, it would reach a stable amount, and it would increase in the next few years steadily. Those were not ordinary tea leaves, but golden sprouts and lavender. With these two categories of tea leaves, the Yuezheng family could expand this business line to the capital. Yuezheng had been trying to expand the business to the capital, but his father ran into an accident and the whole thing was postponed. Now his father had healed and the golden sprouts and lavenders were soon going to be available, so the plan could be resumed, and things would become much easier. After all, these two kinds were the most difficult to cultivate and the capital had a high demand for them. Hence, as long as he had the goods, no one would be able to get rid of them. They needed to stick to the tea leaves business. It should never fade away. But the weather had made things difficult in the recent past. What if the weather turned better this year? The two managers and the two owners started having an argument. Both sides had their reasonable contentions and did not retreat at all, so the argument became very lively. Xiaoxian and Yunduan exchanged a look between themselves. What were they doing here? Watching the show. Yunduan smiled bitterly. He knew nothing about business, let alone tea leaves. But Xiaoxian gave a suggestion instinctively. Tea leaves can be made into the shape of brick, easier to transport and much less likely to get rotten. She faintly remembered that there was a documentary about tea transportation where the tea bricks were mentioned. The argument stopped immediately. The deputy manager did not show any look of contempt, seeing that it was the two owners' good friend who had spoken. But he still said calmly, Mrs. Xiao, we are already using tea bricks. Yuezheng Xiao suddenly had hope rising inside his heart when he saw this couple who had surprised them so many times. What if he made the right bet? Actually, bricks are differently made and processed. Some bricks can preserve the taste, color, and avoid some flaws. Unfortunately, our bricks aren't good enough, so we are always seeking better ways to make tea bricks. But it is never easy. Xiaoxian thought of the system in space. She felt like giving it a try. She thought for a while and said, "One seemed to remember having read something about craftsmanship of tea bricks making. I will try to recall those things and write them down for you. Maybe it will be of some help." They were all startled. Yuezheng Xiao was also taken aback. "Are you sure? We would pay for it, if you have a better method for making tea bricks." Chapter 533. Try out. Yuezheng nodded as well. But the two managers were dumbfounded, falling into speechlessness. What were these two owners doing? Did they really take what Mrs. Xiao said so seriously? The craftsmanship of such exquisite skill should be concealed in secret, and Mrs. Xiao would not just reveal that to them so casually. She must be joking. They would have mocked her but for the presence of these two young masters. How shameless she was. Xiaoxian looked frank and honest. She smiled without any embarrassment. "Let me give it a try." It didn't depend on her whether she could find a solution. She was going to look it up in space. If she could find the method, that would be great. If not, then there was nothing else she could do. Yuezheng Xiao had a lot of confidence in her. He nodded as if he already had received the method. Okay, please have a try. It doesn't matter if you can remember anything. Don't be stressed. I am sure you can figure it out." Xiaoxian. She could not make a promise till the time she didn't check it in her space. Soon, Xiaoxian did find the chance to enter the space and the room, where she carefully searched the process for tea craftsmanship. To her surprise, she actually found one. Xiaoxian read it carefully and bore the contents in her mind. She could easily remember the words since what she found here was connected to her consciousness. Later, Xiaoxian slightly changed the method of narration and made a few changes in the details with the core contents remaining intact. Soon, a plan of tea brick manufacturing was formed. Xiao Yunduan helped her write them down as Xiaoxian stumbled with her words. Xiao Yunduan did not know much about the tea bricks, but when he wrote the method down, he could not help but admire his wife. His instinct told him that this was really excellent. Every step was filled with characteristics as well as the items that they needed to watch out for. Xiao Yunduan read the paper carefully and gave an admiring look to his wife. "You had all of these in mind?" Xiaoxian thought for a while and shook her head. "Not all. Some of them are my ideas, not everything is from a book. I just figured it out myself." No book would have a complete methodology of any craftsmanship, and Xiaoxian could not find such an excuse. Xiao Yunduan. Xiaoxian burst into laughter seeing her husband's surprise on her face. "As for tea, in fact, the preservation is quite easy. I can figure it out from what I read. Apart from reading miscellaneous books, I also like to think about it when I have nothing to do. Many things here are what I inferred myself. I don't know if it's right or not. But the masters who make tea bricks have rich experience, they will know after trying it." Xiao Yunduan said, "You are right." Xiaoxian chuckled and nodded. The two of them smiled at each other. When handing over the paper to Yuezheng Xiao, Xiao Yunduan euphemistically mentioned how it came about, so that Yuezheng Xiao and the tea brick makers would understand it well and won't land in trouble by blindly following the instructions. They were supposed to think more about it themselves when they were trying it out for the first time. Chapter 534 presents Yuezheng Xiao was shocked as well. His sister-in-law was really bold and full of ideas. Then, he realized that she was not an ordinary woman. She had read a lot and was very smart. She loved to think broadly and could come up with so many delicious things to cook. Tea bricks might be her specialty as well. Some people could be good at something that no one else was able to surpass. After the paper was given to Yuezheng Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian left according to the original plan. They could not be away from home for too long during this season of the year. First Madam was unwilling to see them leave, but there was no choice. She ordered the kitchen to prepare a lot of things for them to eat on the way, and did not release Xiao Xian's hands for a long while. They had 5 wagons on the way back home. They didn't contain much luggage, but there were many people. Yuezheng Xiao had arranged it all, and Chu Shan led the way. However, not long after they left the gate, Ms. Mi Jr.'s servant, Auntie Mao, stopped the wagon. "Please, young Master Xiao, Mrs. Xiao. Our madam has a present to give to you. Hence, I am waiting for you here." Soon after, a maid came forward with a huge box. Xiao Xian did not take it but smiled. "Thanks, Aunt. Please tell second madam that we have accepted her kindness, but we don't need the present." "That's kind of you, Mrs. Xiao." Auntie Mao smiled as she led forward a girl in her teens. The girl was wearing a light pink embroidered dress, with a slender waist, petite and exquisite. She had charming and beautiful facial features, especially a pair of eyes, which were particularly enticing. Auntie Mao led her forward. The girl threw a glance at Xiao Yunduan, then she lowered her head, showing a snowy white neck and beautiful face, looking rather attractive. Xiao Xian, she understood what was going on. Xiao Xian suddenly felt uncomfortable, very uncomfortable. She threw a look at Xiao Yunduan and sneered, waiting for Auntie Mao to make her speech. "Young Master Xiao." Auntie Mao smiled. "This is Li Yun, a present our second madam gave to young Master Xiao so that you can study well. You need to have a smart maid next to you, right? Please accept it, young Master Xiao." Li Yun put on an even more bashful posture and bowed at Xiao Yunduan. "Greetings, young master." Auntie Mao smiled. "Get onto the wagon. Do remember to serve young Master Xiao. From this day on, you are young Master Xiao's girl." "Yes, Auntie." The whole scene made Xiao Yunduan, Xiao Xian and Chu Shan turn dumbfounded. Auntie Mao did not think that Xiao Yunduan would turn her down. All men liked beautiful women, especially scholars who loved to have charming girls to keep them company when they read. Li Yun was young, beautiful and lively. No man would turn her down, especially someone like Xiao Yunduan, who was from an ordinary family. He would definitely want to have someone like her next to him. Xiao Yunduan understood what was going on. But this was the first time he learned about something like this. He flushed and said, "Wait a moment. I don't need her. Please take her back, thanks." Li Yun was startled, climbing midway onto the wagon. Chapter 535. For Aunt Li Yun was startled, and so was Auntie Mao. "What did you just say, young Master Xiao? He did not want a beautiful girl for free?" Pressing down the anger, Xiao Yunduan repeated word by word. "Al just said, take her away." "What? Young master?" Li Yun looked up at Xiao Yunduan innocently. "What is wrong with me?" "Everything." Xiao Yunduan answered coldly. "Chu Shan, let's leave now." With that, Xiao Yunduan put down the curtain, and his handsome face was stiff. Chu Shan, who had been panicking anxiously, got really happy seeing people from the second section of the family get humiliated. "Yes, young Master Xiao." "Auntie Mao, make way please." "Young Master Xiao." Auntie Mao could not hide her anger. She stopped the wagon and said with displeasure, "Second Madame Yuezheng is giving you a present out of kindness, young Master Xiao, but you are turning her down. Honestly, young Master Xiao, you are a guest to our mansion." Was he daring to humiliate the madam from the Yuezheng family? His face was stern, and without lifting the drapery, he said in a cold voice, "That has nothing to do with second Madame Yuezheng." He was not relying on Ms. Mi Jr., and he was not threatened by a servant. Honestly, the Yuezheng family needed his family's help, to be precise, his wife's help. Xiao Yunduan never felt that he was under shadow when his wife was more capable than he was. Instead, he felt really proud. Xiao Xian lifted the curtain and said, "Auntie Mao, thank you for the present. We can accept the present, but I want to clarify something. This means that she will be completely at our disposal, right?" Auntie Mao thought that something sounded wrong. But she did not dwell on that and added with a smile, You are right, Mrs. Xiao, this is the present to young Master Xiao, and she will be at your disposal if you accept it. That is great. Xiao Xian smiled. Then, I am giving her away to the first madam of your mansion, namely my aunt. Auntie Mao, kindly send her and the contract to my aunt so she can be pleased. A beautiful, nice maid will definitely make her happy. What? Auntie Mao's face changed. She was totally dumbfounded. What was this situation? Chu Shan could not hide his chuckle. He was watching the show proudly. Before the first madam and old master came back to the mansion, this old aunt tormented the servants of the first section of the family together with second Madam Yuezheng. So, he was very glad to see her getting thrashed. Xiao Yunduan was pleased too. He said coldly, my wife is right. Auntie Mao, do remember to have her delivered to Aunt. Yeah, she is at our disposal, isn't she? Hence, it depends on us how we deal with her. Auntie Mao can't decide on our behalf, right? I don't think second Madam Yuezheng would be so stingy as to take back her gift. We will ask our aunt next time about it. Auntie Mao got so angry that her face twisted. Li Yun was so shocked. What did she do? Why was she treated like that? Chapter 536. Ignored problem, Chu Shan added with a smile. Don't worry, young Master Xiao and Mrs. Xiao, I will definitely tell First Madam about this once I get back. First Madam doesn't lack servants, but since this is a present from you, Mrs. Xiao, First Madam will surely love it. I would be glad if Aunt liked it. Thanks, Chu Shan. This is what I should do. Auntie Mao shivered from head to foot. She almost passed out due to short breath. What a bully! How could the situation become like that? Xiao Xian threw a sidelong look at her, smiling. Auntie Mao, anything more you want to tell me? If not, please move away. We are heading home now. Auntie Mao spat on the ground seeing them leave. She snapped. What the hell, these impolite people. They have ruined second Madame Yuezheng's present. Li Yun turned really anxious. She asked in a small voice after a long while. Auntie Mao, then I will. Auntie Mao glared at her. What will you do? Serve first, madam? No, no. Li Yun shook her head anxiously. I don't want to. Please save me. She had heard what first madam was like. She would not dare to work for first madam under such circumstances. Auntie Mao snorted. We are going back to report this to second madam. She has her own idea. How dare you beg me for help? You are totally useless. Xiao Yunduan would have accepted her if she had been useful. Li Yun kept her head lowered, not daring to utter a sound. She had not expected that a countryside man would turn down a beautiful girl like her to become his concubine. She did not like Xiao Yunduan, but second Madame Yuezheng said that he was rich and could become an officer in the future, thus successfully convincing her. Eventually she was looked down upon. That made Li Yun really sad. In the wagon, Xiao Yunduan felt especially annoyed. He had not expected that Ms. Mi Jr. would be so disgusting. He threw a quick look towards Xiao Xian, thinking that he should say something. But Xiao Xian did not look very happy and Xiao Yunduan somehow felt a little nervous, not knowing what to say. So, he could only glance at her secretly. Although Auntie Mao was driven away and the annoying Ms. Mi Jr. would get really pissed, Xiao Xian was indeed in a bad mood. She suddenly thought of a problem that she had been ignoring all this time. She was having a smooth time at her mother-in-law's home, and her mother-in-law showed her favor boldly among all of her 3 daughter-in-laws. No one even objected to that. Her elder sister-in-law and third sister-in-law all trusted her, so did Qi and Tao Tao, who admired her greatly and took her advice. Although her father-in-law wasn't that reliable, she was out of his control. Moreover, she did not care about the other sections of the Xiao family. Xiao Yunduan treated her nicely too, although they did not say it straightforwardly. Both of them should know that Xiao Xian was not going to leave the Xiao family and they would become a real couple in the future. Why not? Xiao Yunduan was nice to her and he defended her in front of the Xiao family. He even promised to her that he would always stay by her side, so that she would never be bullied or looked down at. Chapter 537. Unpleasantness. He had encouraged her to do business, to open a tea business, rather than restrict her by telling her that she should just obey her husband. With this as the basis, Xiao knew clearly that she was never going to find anyone else in this era that would treat her equally well. Also, after spending much time with him, she had gradually started to like him. She could not find anyone else like this if she left them. But she suddenly realized one thing: the issue of wife and concubine. She had been carefree and busy making food and money because she never had the concept of this problem. After all, she was not originally born in this era. But now this issue suddenly happened. In this era, rich men often had concubines, more than one. As long as he could afford them, he would have 3 or 4 concubines, or 3 or 4 maids, as well as some sweethearts outside home. As long as a man wanted it. Xiao Yunduan turned down Ms. Li Yun given by Ms. Mi Jr., but what about later? Xiao Yunduan was a smart guy. Ms. Mi Jr. was up to no good, and he was not originally from a rich family, so before he became the officer, he would not accept the girl. What about later? Many people became arrogant and conceited after they were appointed as an officer. It was a fact. People changed. They were true-hearted when the conditions were the same, but who knew whether they would still remain the same when conditions changed? Maybe Xiao Xian had to accept his concubine being his wife. Else she would just be labeled unvirtuous and blamed by her mother-in-law and by those from the Xiao family, friends and relatives. She did not care about the reputation, but she did not want to deal with such accusations. She did not want to be blamed by others or let such things ruin her day. Also, what if Xiao Yunduan himself wanted to have concubines? She could not drive them away by threatening him. If his superiors and fellows gave him beautiful girls, how could he turn them down, and how many times could he turn them down? The refusal might affect his career. Would he rather give up his career? Even if he failed to become an officer, he might still have concubines when he became rich. Xiao Xian felt really distressed as she thought about this. Life was going to be so hard. She had thought that she was lucky enough to have a good mother-in-law and a good family as well as a good man, but there was this hidden, huge problem in front of her. So annoying. Xiao Xian looked up at Xiao Yunduan and felt distressed. Xiao Yunduan also sensed something weird going on with her. He felt very confused and anxious, thinking that it must be something to do with him. But he also hoped that it was not his fault. Yet the feeling was getting weirder than before. He could not help but observe Xiao Xian, and then he saw Xiao Xian's look of grudge. Xiao Yunduan was startled. "What is going on, darling?" What was going on? Xiao Xian snorted and suddenly felt sourness attacking her, as if she were already the wife without virtue, who was blamed by everyone in the neighborhood. She almost burst into tears. Xiao Yunduan panicked. "What happened? Darling, please don't cry." Chapter 538. Advanced Scholar. "I'm not crying." "You are crying." Xiao Yunduan panicked. He said, "My fault, definitely my fault." "Of course it's your fault. Men are not good." Xiao Yunduan had no idea what happened. But he knew that his wife was not happy at the moment, which made him feel concerned. He thought for a while and then said gently, "Other men have nothing to do with us. Tell me what is wrong with me, please?" Xiao Xian was so engaged in her imagination that she blurted out immediately, "You are going to marry a concubine." Xiao Yunduan was startled. "What? No, 1 a.m. not." He denied it instantly. Xiao Xian snorted. "You will, in the future." Xiao Yunduan. He was speechless. "L won't in the future either." Xiao Xian did not believe him. Yuezheng just saying nice words. When you become an officer, you will need a concubine to keep up your reputation. Or your colleagues and superiors give you one. You will need to accept them in case you offend them. Or your family will want you to have many children. The more she thought about this, the sadder she became. She believed that he had many reasons to accept concubines, but none to turn down one. Xiao Yunduan was startled. Xiao Xian's heart sank as she saw his reaction. She was so sad when she said, "Anyway, I don't care, we are..." Xiao Yunduan covered her mouth before she finished her words. Xiao Xian glared at him furiously. He was gagging her. I won't have any concubines. Xiao Yunduan sighed. I don't have any now. Nor will I have any in the future. Noble and rich people had this custom, but he did not. Why did he need a concubine? He liked Xiao Xian and he could not imagine that he would be close to anyone else. He was not used to being with anyone else. And she did not like it either. Xiao Yunduan did not think Xiao Xian's concern was wrong. Instead, he felt more worried about her. She was born a concubine's daughter, thus hoping that he would not have any concubines. Feeling pity for her, Xiao Yunduan added, "One will treat you well." Xiao Xian was dumbfounded. She just realized that she had lost her temper for no reason. She suddenly felt a little guilty and embarrassed. Was he telling the truth? Is that true? Of course. If you ever lie, Elle won't. What? Elle won't. Then we will talk about this later. Xiao Yunduan swallowed down all the promises he was about to make. She did not need big promises. She needed to see what he did to her. Xiao Yunduan told himself inwardly that he was going to behave well. He was not going to give her a chance to leave. But Xiao Yunduan was laughing bitterly. He thought that if he became the recommended man, then he could possibly finally confess his feelings towards her. Now it seemed that she could only accept him after he became the advanced scholar and assure her that he would never have a concubine. Xiao Yunduan promised to himself that he was definitely going to become an advanced scholar. Only then would he be able to have her for real by his side. Chapter 539. On the couch hearing his solemn okay, Xiao Xian felt that he was sincere. That made her feel slightly better. That would do. She had a lot of money. Most importantly, Aunt Yuezheng treated her well and the first section of the Xiao family were not unreasonable people. If that day really came, they could separate the properties and she could make sure the breakup went peacefully, even if it meant that she might face some losses. When this idea came into her mind, Xiao Xian finally felt slightly assured. She was not alone in this world, anyway. But she did not want this to happen. Just the thought of it was distressing enough. They arrived at Heshan County by the evening and stopped by the Zhang village first. They had told Ding Erju and his wife about buying a dozen laborers before, so the couple wasn't that surprised to see them. They had got all the daily necessities ready. Anything that was missing, they could go and fill them up the next day. Xiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan gave them some instructions, and left the three families in Ding Erju and his wife's hands. They will drop by the next day. It was very late already, and they could not do everything on the same day. They were going to have a detailed discussion the next day, when they were going to pick the lotus roots. The coachman of the three wagons stayed overnight at the Zhang village, whilst Chu Shan drove the couple back to their village. The two wagons did not stop until they came into the yard. The six maids were quite nervous as they got off the wagon. Ms. Fong as well as the other family was very surprised to see them. They had been informed about the arrival of the maids and they were used to Lu Yan's presence. So the six maids did not startle Ms. Fong and the others too much. Soon they all calmed down. Xiao Xian led the six maids to kowtow to the whole family and passed on their names. It was very late, and they did not need to work at this moment. They were arranged to live in the back house, with three girls sharing one room. When the six maids were settled, everyone relaxed, especially Tao Tao and Qi, who approached Xiao Xian and smiled. Xiao Xian was also smiling happily. She had not met her family for a long time and she could not wait to share details of the trip with them. Xiao Yunduan's lips curved. He knew that his wife loved this family and had long since developed sincere feelings towards everyone. So, he was going to do his best to keep her here. It had been a long day. After dinner and a simple wash, Xiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan returned to their room for rest. Only then did Xiao Xian notice something strange. She and Xiao Yunduan had been sharing the same bed and pillow for a long while now. Also under the same cover, that was too flirty. They did not have much space in the past, so they had to bear the limited conditions. But things were different after shifting here. They had so many spacious yards and rooms, and even the yard they were living in had wing rooms. So, Xianxia could live in whichever room she wanted. No one would know that they were not sharing the same bed. Xianxia suddenly felt a little annoyed, especially after she was irritated today. Well, you can take the bedroom. I will move into the east wing room. Xiao Yunduan looked up at her, deep into her eyes but sensed no emotions. Xianxia felt slightly uncomfortable. She moved her eyes away, avoiding his look. But, Elle will take the couch. Xiao Yunduan threw a look at the couch placed against the wall. Chapter 540. Not saying the couch was not wide or long, barely enough for one person. It would definitely cause discomfort, but he did not want to sleep in a different bedroom from Xiaoxian. Xiaoxian's eyes widened. There is no need, it will do. Xiao Yunduan smiled. In case Mom finds out about it. Also, no matter where you sleep, it is the same, isn't it? Xiaoxian was stuck with words. True. They all knew that she and Xiao Yunduan were a married couple, and they could not spill the truth about their relation to anyone else. Even if they were divorced, she would still be considered to have been through one marriage after all. So, there was no need to be too particular at this moment. Hence, they could just share one room in case some accident happened. Most importantly, Xiao Yunduan sounded so determined that she could not turn him down. But the couch doesn't seem very comfortable. Xiao Yunduan agreed inwardly. But he disagreed on the surface. That is fine. It is okay for me. Oh, if you don't feel comfortable, don't stick around. Take the east wing room. Xiaoxian had no words to say any further. She had said whatever she was supposed to say, and that was all she could do. Xiao Yunduan laughed and said gently, "It is getting late, let's settle daven." What? Okay, it was a quiet night. But when they got up the following morning, Xiao Yunduan looked very tired from sleeping on the couch. He had dark circles around the eyes, and was massaging his shoulders. Xiaoxian felt a little guilty, and said involuntarily, "What about you take the east wing room? Or I can." "No need really." Xiao Yunduan smiled brightly. "I can manage." Xiaoxian was speechless. When they got up, the 6 maids were already up. The 6 girls were cautious and timid, at a loss. They had no idea what they should do. Seeing Ms. Fang and Yang Xiaoni working, they went up to offer some help. But they caused a mess. Ms. Fang and Yang Xiaoni felt a little helpless as well. If they were told to work, there wasn't so much for them to do anyway. And Ms. Fang did not seem to feel that stone-hearted to give them so much work, seeing that they were afraid to be driven away at the first mistake. But they were the maids and they should work. Ms. Fang understood that maids should not be spoiled, after what they had experienced with Lu Yen. Otherwise the spoiled maids would cause the family trouble. They were different from Lu Yen. They were going to be kept at home for long. Seeing Xiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan walk in, Ms. Fang and her daughters-in-law let out a big relief. "Oh, Miss Qiao, what should these 6 girls do? Please make some arrangements." As long as they were not lingering in front of her, or they would just cause trouble. Xiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan exchanged an amused look. Xiao Xian smiled. "It is my fault, sorry for having caused you trouble. All you girls, come here." The 6 maids also let out a sigh of relief, as if they had found the decision-maker. They answered and came to them. Xiao Xian glanced at them and felt very satisfied. With First Madam around, the agent offered her exactly what she needed for the family. These 6 girls were all very reliable. Chapter 541. Fear and respect. The agent had recommended 10 people, and she picked 6 out of them. All of them seemed like the right choice at that time. Actually, it did not matter if they were wrong choices either. If they found that any of the maids were like how Lu Yen was in her initial stage, when she did not do any housework, Xiao Xian would still not worry too much. She could just sell them and find better ones. Xiao Xian had already told them what they should do. She did not need to give them any lecture. She only summoned Tao Tao and Qi, who came to her side. "Your 5th brother will be heading into town today with me and we will buy some mutton. Let's eat mutton kebabs tonight. How does that sound? Tao Tao and Chi's eyes started sparkling. They nodded constantly. Yeah, okay. There is not much chili powder and pepper powder at home. We will grind some more today. By the way, grind some dried ginger powder, cumin, and cloves, too. Xiaoxian smiled and said, You lead Chunyu and Chuanfin to the bamboo forest to cut bamboo, and let them chop them into kebab sticks after cutting the bamboo. Each of them will cut 20 pieces. You take them there, tell them how to cut it, and let them do the rest. Chi and Tao Tao were a little confused. They were fast and they could do everything flexibly. But since the fifth sister-in-law said so, then she might have a reason for it. So they nodded. Then Xiaoxian said to the 6 maids, Heard that? Each person cuts 20 pieces and holds the cut ones in hands. Don't confuse them with others. I will check them when I come back. The 6 maids nodded. Xiaoxian added, Our family doesn't have much housework, and my mother and sister-in-law do the work by themselves on weekdays. As for you, you just need to help. In this way, 6 of you will work in 3 shifts, 2 in 1 shift, and 1 shift a day to help with the work. Those who are not on duty can go back to the house to rest or do needlework. If there is something to do, whoever is called will go. The 6 maids nodded again. It seemed like a proper arrangement. The 6 maids felt assured and did not think that it would be messy as before. They were not the type who wanted to serve masters or madams in high-ranking families so that they could become excellent maids in the future. After Xiaoxian bought them, they could tell what their new mistress and master were like after living in the province as well as experiencing the trip on the way home. They felt lucky that they had a great mistress who was neither stingy nor strict, nor throwing temper at her will, and who offered them much food and clothes generously. Most importantly, though they did not dare to peep at the encounter between Auntie Mao and Xiao as well as Xiao Yunduan, they heard everything clearly. Their mistress and master were nice and treated them well, but they were definitely not weak. So, the maids respected and admired them, and they would not cause any trouble. Even though they might have had some strange idea before, the idea was long gone. Chi and Tao Tao led Chunyun and the maids to chop bamboo. After that, they were offered breakfast before going to chop them further into pieces. The brother and sister were drooling for the oily and tasty mutton kebabs. With 6 more maids at home, the breakfast portion needed to increase. Xiaoxian said to Ms. Fong with a smile, Mom, if you make steamed buns, porridge and noodles at home, let them eat it. For daily cooking, let them cook 2 dishes and 1 soup. Fry 2 dishes but let the quantity be more than usual and serve them in another bowl. You're tuning in to the Wang Lin's Journey YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.